Hey everyone, this week is an episode that a lot of people have been asking me to do for a long time, and this is, I actually attempted to do it once before, and you'll hear us talking about it at the beginning of the podcast, but I tried to interview Ryan, and it was too weird interviewing someone that basically everything I was asking him about, I knew like the answers to. So what we did was we brought in one of our best friends, Belchere, who played in Stand Your Ground with myself for a minute, and he played on the demo and the 7-inch, and we brought him in to interview Ryan and myself because it's like a third party, and it came out pretty good. I hope you guys enjoy. If you want to support the podcast, please like, rate, and review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Please do that for me. That's a easy way to support the podcast for free. And if you want to donate, you can go to patreon.com/185 miles south and become a monthly Patreon. And all my Patreons are my heroes. I love all you guys. It is so appreciated. And also you can donate through PayPal, and that's paypal.me/185 miles south. And that's a way to do a one-way donation or a one-time donation. Big shout out to Mike Mall. Love you. That's it. Let's do the show. This is 185 miles south, the In Control edition.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
We need you to actually bring it out of us, and you could, create. Because I know you're on our first Full Yost tour, and you could bring up stories that I might have forgotten, or he might have forgotten. Or you remember correctly.
Well, it was crazy when Zach sent me this really intense Excel sheet of all the shows and moments, and I was like, I didn't know any of this stuff. But it informed a lot of what I feel like is my approach to understanding it, and what some of my questions are.
When I was doing it before, it felt too masturbatory,
we're just stroking each other off.
Yeah, tell me about this show that I fucking played sick hacks at.
That show was also sick.
Robert picked up beds and body slammed him in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was like, yeah, I was there too.
I was like, so what else do I want to hit on about myself?
Yeah. So actually, I got corrected by Bedge today on Facebook because I told that story on the Fred podcast. After he got body slammed, he did not go down the stairs. As I said,
he stayed in the room?
I said he ran off.
He ran up the stage.
I said he went 3 stories down, but no, he just went back to the merch booth.
Oh, so he stayed there.
Yeah, and I also said that they covered Straight On View, but they covered PMA.
They covered PMA by
That's true.
by Unity.
I could have confirmed that. I could have saved you from that one.
Well, I actually thought he did run away and he was just gone because I was still involved in the show.
All I knew was that he just ran away.
Yeah.
He went like
this. He went, I'm bad. We're fields of fire. And then threw the microphone down and then ran away. And so I assumed that he just went right back into the van.
That's what I assumed. And then it was just funnier in my head thinking about someone storming down 3 flights of stairs because that was such a shit load in,
Trust me, I know. Because I'm the one that had to load all the goddamn half stacks and 8x10s up that goddamn 3 flights of stairs. It fucking hurt.
But that's the thing is I didn't remember. Somehow in my head commingled the tumbleweed story and the bed story together, and I forgot about the body slam. And it was and then I looked at Zach's sheet and I was like, oh shit, the tumbleweed story has nothing to do with bed at all. The tumbleweed story
was the next year.
I wasn't even there.
Let's move your mic 2 inches back from the table, Ryan.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so let me bring everyone up to speed. Welcome. This is 185 miles south, and this is the In Control podcast. I tried to interview Ryan before, but it was just too weird, interviewing someone that I knew the answers to the stories. So we brought in our good friend Aaron Belchere, the legend from the Stand Your Ground demo.
Legendary Stand Your Ground demo.
Yep. Back when it was also with Max and Corian.
Corey.
And Corian.
Yeah, dude.
I think he was
Who else?
Corey. I think
Was
he
it
was
Todd?
I think he was technically Hard Corey at the time.
Hard Corey.
Hard Corey?
Yeah, it was Hard Corey.
It was before he was in Carry On.
That's right.
And Max with 3 X's.
Yes.
And
Max.
Todd. And that was and Tony.
And Tony.
Tony was in the band. Oh,
Yeah.
Jeez.
Tony Molino. So yeah, we're gonna have Aaron interview us about the In Control stuff, but I'm gonna lead a little bit because I wanted to do a Ryan Fredette podcast that a lot of people wanted to have me do, and that part of our previous pod was pretty good. But I don't know, whatever the fuck ever. It's better to just redo everything. So what I wanted to talk about was you getting into punk rock, which was, you said you were like 12 or some shit and started going to the Mayfair Theater.
Yep. It was actually, I think it was, at that time it was called Insomniac.
Okay.
Mayfair Theater Insomniac, but it was the first show we went to, it was me and Max and Anthony Nigro, and we saw the Brandon Cruz Band face to face before they were anything. They were just a band from Victorville, and we saw ads, ADZ. They were basically adolescents after adolescence.
Put that on a timeline for me of that show and your brother kicking our asses in your bedroom listening to
It was
listening to Ill Repute.
That seriously was around the same time.
Like the same time.
Because Mike Bridgeford came over to our house and he played that Ill Repute tape. It was called What Happens Next, and the first song is called Oxnard.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, dude, listen to the song. Listen to the song. It's like, Oxnard, Nardcore. And then from that moment, it was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. Like, we got to do this. And that was around the same, it was in the wintertime, I remember. And that's when we went to that show. And the next, a couple months later, we went and saw Pennywise and who the fuck else, but man, oh my gosh.
Just some other Ragers.
No, it was
Like the Pennywise
It was before
Ventura
Pennywise-
Fairground show?
no, it was at the Insomniac.
Oh.
It was Pennywise, and I think it was Bad Religion. It was like,
That Pennywise
I don't
show
know.
wasn't until 94 or 95.
I thought it was 92.
Oh, wow.
No, well, the one at the fairgrounds was Strife?
Not
The
the
huge,
no, not
huge
the
one,
fairground.
yeah,
No. This was at the Mayfair Theater. You know, it doesn't exist anymore. It
And
was
you're 12.
I was 12, yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, this is the funny story about that show. We sat there, me and Max and Anthony, and we were sitting in the front row, and some fucking skinhead, full blown like skin, just comes up to me and goes, "Are you gonna slam?" I was like, yeah, I'll slam, I'll do whatever you want, I'm sorry, I'll do it. And then, of course, Anthony was like, no, and Max is like, sure, I guess. But I was terrified because, I mean, he's probably like 5 or 6 years older than me, but of course, you know, he's a fucking skinhead, so he's been in lots of fights. Even if he wasn't racist, he's still been in lots of fights, because if you're a skinhead, you have to fight, no matter what.
Skinheads at that time were racist. Like, there weren't, like,
And then
Ventura
Ventura?
trad skins at that time.
Yeah, they probably were.
Now there's, like, Fred Perry skinheads in Ventura.
Yeah.
probably.
But it was just, that was funny the way he came out to me, and he leaned forward and his head came right to my face. He's like, "Are you going to slam?" And I was just terrified.
Sutter Kane.
I mean, it was a funny thing because you guys came back to school with that story, and that was like the first thing I knew of a show.
We were waiting in
And
the
I
lunch
was
line
like-
together.
It was like the first thing I knew of a punk rock show, and like I could not be more terrified about going to a show. Like,
Yeah, but you went to the Armory and saw Good Riddance, right? Like the next year.
yeah, something like that. Like 2 years later or something like that. Like I still like, I mean, but then like shows at people's houses and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's still the idea that there was this like pit full of skinheads, like, you know, this.
Guys tougher than us.
Yeah, you know, and to deposit myself as a small Jewish boy into that was frightening. Anyway,
Oh, it was terrifying.
Anyway,
which is
go on
why
with-
I liked it so much, because it was so scary.
Actually,
It was-
I want to let's do a total sidebar from that. Aaron, didn't you do a project in school and you had to go to a Nazi show and you had to like
He saw the blue-
and you had to like
Yes.
you had to recite something?
No, so yeah, yes. So I did my thesis project, which was like a kind of elective project you could do in school, and I was in anthropology, and I was like, man, I want to find like people like, you know, they go to rainforests or they, you know, study the ins and outs of the hippie movement or whatever. You know, it's like there's
Yeah, people are doing
a lot
exotic
of-
frogs and you're like, I'm gonna do a knucklehead.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna do some shit that like I feel like I can get access to that will be fucking frightening and weird and something that I've always been curious about. And so I was like, I'm going to research, racist music and the racist music scene and try to just access it and find what I find. And like fast forward past like, some interviews and message boards and buying CDs that I would never think should ever be in anyone's CD collection ever. And like I finally find a show, and the shows are hard to find, like because they're really secretive about the shows. It's like going to like a rave in the 90s. Like you have to like you go to a place and they tell you about the other place because they're really they actually want to keep it really like pure.
It's like what's that shit when you get a list? It's like, oh, you got to go find this and this.
There were steps. There were steps, and like so I'm gonna go see what what I perceive from like the Blue Eyed Devils, who are like the biggest band in that scene, and I go out there and it's like out at the raceway in Paris Raceway. You know where that is?
I thought it was at Styx in Orange County.
No, it's like east of Anaheim, which might still be Orange County. I don't know where that begins and ends. But so we go and we roll up to the show, and I take one buddy with me, and I'm like, I'm not trying to like, it would be unethical, given anthropology or something, to actually dress like that to pretend I'm a skinhead. So I just dressed kind of like just regular. I've got short hair. I'm wearing a red polo shirt and like some washed out jeans. Like, I'm like,
you show up, you're like, I'm close. Convert me, brother.
Yeah, it's like I have all the it's like I'm not that, but I have all the characteristics of something that could be molded into that. And like I walk up with my buddy Dusty, who is also in the anthropology department. He was a few years older.
Dusty's cool.
And and he's up for the adventure and whatever. So we finally get out there. It's like it's like 9 o'clock at night, and we walk up, and sure enough, there's like there's like an armed security guard, and there's this guy working the door, and he's a fucking Nazi.
This is the story I remember from
this guy's a lot like a Nazi who would show up at a punk rock show here. This guy's like like a Nazi from like TV. You know what I mean? like he's like like has the like the fucking vest on, and he's fucking booted, and he's just like everything is just like is so gnarly, and he's huge. And I roll up and I'm like, hey, he's like, what do you guys want? He's like, oh, you here to see this show?
I want to slam.
Yeah, I was like, or you want to slam? and he like just gives us a look up and down. He's like, well, are you down for the white race? I was like, yeah.
Among many others, yes.
Amongst the races I'm down for, white is one. I'm really trying because I really want to be an anthropologist. I'm trying not to violate, the rules of like basically lying. And and he's like, so what do you guys think of black people?
Jesus.
And what's that? And he doesn't use the term that I just said.
He uses the shit word. The shitty
he
word.
uses the real deal word, and I was like,
fucked.
oof. And like, it's not that many times I've heard that word used by someone like that, maybe ever. I've seen it.
And like in serious and directed towards you.
And it wasn't like there wasn't like a dangling R at the end. It's like a real like.
Eey.
And and Dusty knows this, and Dusty knows he knows that I can't like do this. If I'm gonna do this for real, so he just steps in, and he's like, "We fucking hate him." It's like, and I was like, and he's like, and I'm like, and I just sort of like nod my head. I'm like, yeah, totally. Like, and he's like, and he leans over like right into me, right into this skinny guy with a big nose, and he's like, what do you think about Jews? and I was like, and like, and
I love
it's just
my
like,
dad.
it just falls like silent, and I'm just like, and then Dust just rolls, and he's just like, I fucking hate Jews, and he goes on a rant, like a full blown fucking rant about all the stuff you'd seen, the money, the banks, the entertainment, the media, like, and I'm just like. Not. I'm like, yeah, that's. He's like, all right, $12.
Jesus, did you have to go home and like take a fucking bath?
It was. I mean, the crazy thing is you go in, and I'm there to see the biggest band, like the sort of the preeminent like screwdriver of our times, and they kind of like sound like a, like a low budget hate breed. and
Yeah.
like there's like 50 people there.
Jesus, 50 people?
Yeah, it's like, like the super wide open kind of pit, and actually like everyone's really nice. Like I'm legitimately like everyone's, because they're not like in a place where they're gonna, where anyone is in conflict with them. They're like Zeke hailing, but they're all like they're really, really happy and nice. Like I'm buying.
Well, you already got vetted.
Yeah, you're in the door, so you're basically in the, you're in the clubhouse. And but holy shit, like the amount of like literature and music and stuff like that, and this feeling all night of just going like someone is going to, because I'm trying to like sort of casually interview people. I'm recording, and I'm like, the feeling that I could be like found out or chased or whatever was like,
Palatable.
exactly what you'd expect it to be. Yeah, it's like you could, like there was no point in the night where I felt like comfortable about the size of my genitalia. Like there was just that like that shrinkage of ego that was just like
it was inside you.
yeah, exactly.
Well, the funny thing was,
Did you go up to the Blue-Eyed Devils and be like, "Hey, you guys are pretty good, but the Bad Brains are way better"?
Yeah, you thought about getting some other races in this band.
well, I told Adam Lentz, our bass player at the time, the next year that you had gone to that show, and Lentz, he was like,
He's Jewish too.
"Yeah, I know."
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, your first roadie saw the Blue-Eyed Devils live?" I'm going, "Yeah." He's like, "Holy fuck, that's fucking awesome!" He was all stoked about it. I'm like, "Lance, whatever, man, that's cool."
Yeah. Well, needless to say, I got an A.
You did your research. Good
So
reporter.
back to Ryan. I wanted to say that like you're tipping your toes into punk, but your biggest passion at the time is surfing, right?
Yeah.
You're surfing all the time, and you're like, well, before you hit puberty, but you used to be like a small kid,
Yeah.
right? Like you're a big normal sized dude now, but like you were a little kid and like just charging these waves, so you look like a little fucking ant.
Yeah, I was like a little speck.
Yeah.
But I only did that because my brother coached me to do that. And I had my older brother, and he used to tell me, he's like, "If you don't go on this wave, I'm going to kick your ass." And he used to kick my ass all the time. In a good way. In a good older brother way. But so I was forced to push myself over the ledge on these waves that you would never want to go on a small, tiny board. And I did it because, and once I figured out how to do it, it was like, okay, this comes easy. But when you grow up as a surfer, you grow up watching all these surf movies. Well, in 1990... this guy named Taylor Steele came out with this movie called Momentum, and all he had was punk rock music. That was it.
Yeah.
It was Pennywise, Bad Religion, and some other band called Sprung Monkey. They fucking suck balls. Anyways.
San Diego represent.
Sprung Monkey was the San Diego band?
I think so.
Were they?
It's probably another thing I'm wrong about. That someone's like, "They're not from fucking San Diego, you moron."
I didn't like them anyways. Whatever.
But that explains why they're in those videos. Because like you'd watch the whole video, and whoever had the Sprung Monkey part, it was like awful. It was like unlistenable music.
Terrible. So, but anyway, so
Shout
like,
out Sprung Monkey.
yeah, I know. Sorry, I told you guys you suck balls. Anyways, when you grow up in such a violent sport, nobody thinks surfing's violent. It's actually very violent. It's very dangerous. You kind of get attracted to, I don't know. Punk rock shows to me are actually scary and violent and very exciting. So it makes sense. They go hand in hand to me.
And unpredictable.
Yeah, you
Like
never
a
know what's
show.
going to happen.
Like show in the ocean. Kind of
Yeah, it's like you don't know if you're going to get eaten by a shark or drown or a wave's going to break on your head when you have no breath. It's like, it's fucking scary, man. And you know what? That's fucking entertaining. I like that. It's very, I don't know. I appreciate it a lot. So it came from there.
Yeah.
This is 1990. It was a long time ago, but
Okay, and so, but surfing is your main passion, and you start to get really good at it. And your brother is how many years older than you?
he's 3.5 years older than me.
Okay, so he starts going pro, like right around 17, 18?
Yeah, he was pro like when he was 17.
Yeah.
He left.
And you're like almost on his level.
I want to say I was, but like I have my moments, but no, I wasn't as good as him.
In a couple years, you'd be styling, though.
If I didn't
Right.
break my fucking leg.
That's what we're getting to.
You're on your way. You're on your way.
That's what we're getting to.
like
So,
you're on the same trajectory.
Yeah. It's several years earlier.
Yeah.
You're like close to being equal, and you break your leg.
Yeah.
Okay. You break your leg the summer before freshman year?
Yeah, right before I became a freshman in high school.
Yeah, so 14 going off 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, and And
I didn't just break my leg; I shattered my entire femur.
right.
Like,
And to explain for people, surfing it's a finesse sport, right? Because if you're on the tour, not every competition is going to be big waves. So a lot of times you got to like be very finesse and like
you
a
have to be
2
very
foot
good
wave.
at what you do. Yeah,
Yeah, and like fluid and so forth. So if you totally fuck your leg, you're a little more herky jerky, and it's just not going to be there.
I
right?
you can still see it to this day when I go stand up for a wave. They can see me like whip my leg around the board, going, "What a gimp!"
That's a point off.
It's like fuck, man.
I mean, it became your like defining thing. Like,
Oh, there's Frenchie. Yeah, there he is.
right out there. There's that leg.
There's that leg.
So a couple things with that though. One, maybe it threw you into music a little more, and two, you talk about getting bullied as a freshman in high school.
Big time.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about that is I always think that it's interesting how people that when they had something bad happen to them, when they turn it around and eventually you're a popular guy, you never like shit on people.
Well, I think it helped my personality out a lot. Like, I think all the bad things that happened to me, I will never let anybody bully anybody in front of me. I will never treat women wrong. I don't know. I think it worked for me because, we went on tour. I met my wife. I got married. I'm a happy man. All the stuff that was bad in my life turned into actually more positive energy. Like, I had more energy to do fun things.
Yeah.
Like, you were with me at millions of shows. So was Aaron. We used to fucking stage dive off 12-foot platforms into nobody.
Yeah.
And we did it because it was just, fuck it.
That was mainly
What
you.
That was mainly you.
You did it too.
Although I staged up with a whiskey once, and that was fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
because that's high, and the speakers are like 3 feet above
Yeah.
the stage, and the stage is already like chest high.
Yeah, so you're always into punk, but then it's like when we're like 16, 17 and stuff, we get into like Ignite is probably the band that like draws us over to hardcore.
They were like the California Orange County hardcore band.
Because they're so good and they're semi-local, so we can go see them all the time.
Yeah, and they
it's
always
like,
played.
Yeah, and they're good, and they're such a good entry band because if you like No Use for a Name and Lagwagon and that shit, it's like here's an upgraded, more serious version.
Yeah,
it's just better.
Yeah, they're kind of a gateway drug in that way because they're still melodic, right? And they're like,
they had some of the best songs I've ever heard in my life.
and they would play with bands that were from both sides of the world.
They
They're playing with Powerhouse or Madball, and then also playing with like Millencolin, and we saw them with like the Aquabats once.
Damn.
Yeah.
We saw him play at the Showcase Theater in Corona, California, with Vision Disorder, and oh god, who was the other fucking metal? It was like I'm talking like VOD, Ignite.
It was at Fahrenheit 451 or something.
And I think Hatebreed played that show too. No,
Hatebreed was a different show.
it was a different show. I
can't
but
remember.
still,
We've seen it a
seriously,
million times
That
now.
bill doesn't make sense. Like
No.
you're playing VOD and Ignite. These bands don't sound anything alike.
Yeah.
But the show was fucking awesome.
The best one was that one in the living room.
Oh god, that was a blast.
There was like 50 people there. They're just
It
giving
was all of
requests.
us.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. And it was plenty. It was like just enough people so everyone could stage dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 rows. You still had to like stage dive diagonally. Like you couldn't go out. You
Yeah,
had to
like-
go like kind of parallel to the stage.
That show was great because it was all of us. We all knew each other, and there was no lame half circle pit where people were kind of scared. No, everybody packed up to the front, stage after stage after stage. If you caught somebody, then you had the right to go and do a stage dive yourself, and everybody was going to catch you no matter what.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah,
You know the other bands that played that show? Life After Blast.
Yeah.
And, Lab. And did No Motive play first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Motive played first, right?
Yeah.
And then
That must have been the show that Fred talked about on the pod then. There was
It probably
was
was.
probably the goddamn Rockstars opened, then Lab, then No Motive.
then
Or them, then No Motive, then Lab,
Yeah.
then Ignite.
Damn, I haven't listened to the Fred episode yet.
neither have I. I can't wait to listen to all these
I
things.
feel
Hey,
like
hey, get on that, and also don't be shy about hitting that Patreon button.
What did you say in the other one? What did you say? It was the Todd one. You were like, funny you should ask.
That's funny. I'll tell you the story about that after, if you remember. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, just with you talking about shows, like you have the right mentality for hardcore about doing it the right way, right? Like, I'm going to be up front singing along. I'm going to take my lumps because I'm also going to give my lumps because I'm going to stage dive.
Yes.
And we never liked the people that were like the stage potatoes. It was stage dive and then
get right back on stage and sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're not taking any lumps, dude.
Well, they didn't earn their keep. They didn't pay their dues. It's not fair. It's not cool. In fact, I never, ever walked on people's heads before. And I've seen a lot of people do that. And it's like, you know what? I guess you're having a good time, cool. But you know what? I couldn't fucking step on somebody's face. Like, that ain't fucking cool.
Did you ever, Aaron?
I never did that, but it was mostly because of social pressure, to be honest. Like, we
So you
talked
wanted
shit
to
about
do
it so much, but it was like clearly the safest way to stage dive.
Superman.
I just mean that, like,
Superman stage
well,
dives.
I mean, I don't know, like, stepping on someone's face versus rubbing your balls on them. Like,
Do you remember?
Trust me, I rub my balls to lots of men. I didn't want to.
foot first stage diving,
Not cool.
which also none of us ever did, is not cool. That
No, it's not.
No,
There's
but
no risk in
Ryan,
it.
do you remember I finally walked on heads at the last Holding On show?
Oh, and Twin Cities?
Yeah.
At the fucking Triple Rock?
Yeah, because it was so packed up. That was like, if you remember during like Modern Life is War and Holding On, it was packed up like 20 people.
Oh, dude, there was like 10 rows.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it was
10
legit.
rows minimum of dudes packed up. And I was like, tonight's the night. I don't recognize any of these motherfuckers.
Tonight's the night. It was one of the best shows we ever played on tour, by the way. I mean, it was
because Holding On is
fucking
what, Minnesota?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Minneapolis.
they're right from
It's
Minneapolis.
their hometown, and that's the
And
Dillinger 4 bar.
Triple Social.
Yeah.
So I got-
That's their place.
so I got
Oh,
to-
they played?
No,
the
D4.
they
Dillinger
played
no,
that night, but they didn't play that show.
Yeah. But I got drunk with Patty from D4 before the show. And like, it was sick, dude. And anyway, I did a legit like 4 steps of head walking, and it was ill.
And I loved it.
I mean,
it
of
was
course.
so good.
And, like, I mean, 4 steps, like, in, for the listeners out there,
That's 10 rows of people.
Zach's not the small guy in the crowd.
No, it was really packed up. It was great. But yeah, I never did it here because I didn't want to hurt my friends. So anyway, my point is, you got the right mentality for all that shit, and that is why when my previous band broke up and I was out recruiting, I was like, I'm going to do a band and write everything because it's like an insurance policy. It's kind of like how Todd was talking about on the Nails podcast with like, he's like, my next band, I'm going to play guitar and sing.
Yeah.
Because, heaven forbid, people come and go. And,
Of course.
And I was just like, I'm going to get this fucking guy that understands how hardcore works, right? Like even though you hadn't really sang in a band, you did Butt Slam, like a cover band.
Yeah, we
that
used
was
to play
fun.
covers.
Yeah, it was fun.
I had no timing. I had no skill.
Yeah.
I was never a singer.
Right.
I was a frontman. And
Yeah.
I was actually pretty good at being a frontman. But I was never a good singer. And you know that. My timing was shit. I had to be coached by you on every record.
Oh, you
Yeah.
mean like ever in your singing career? Not just in Butt Slam.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
obviously you guys know. I mean, you know.
I would say you became a great frontman because even the first year, I don't know if you were a good frontman. Yeah.
Nah, I used to put my hands on my hips when I had
Yeah,
to sing.
very
pretty hard.
hardcore-esque. Like, hey, that's something that went away in hardcore. Like, remember the singer that would like put like one arm
hand
behind his
the
back?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
And
try to look tougher?
and the dangling of the mic cord by the finger has also gone away. People just out there with a mic like it means nothing.
You know what? I never
People
ever.
are scared of the mic cord now because didn't some dude choke himself to death?
Choke himself, or he choked to death.
No, I think a dude was like doing the mic wrap around the neck thing, like, ugh. and
Actually,
then
I saw
died.
Death by Stereo play in Ventura Theater, and he was swinging the mic like crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how the microphone didn't come off the cord, but he would bop, bop, and he would just nail people in the crowd. Like,
Jesus.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, this is fucking dangerous.
I would be upset by that.
Like, dude, I just want to sing along.
Yeah.
I'm supporting you. I'm here supporting your band.
I'm here because I like you.
Like, why you gotta hit me with the fucking mic?
Yeah. So we start In Control, and In Control is me on guitar, you singing, Tony Molino on drums, who came from the previous band, and we got Chris Holden on bass. Same reason. He was just like an excited kid about playing, and he wasn't that good yet or anything, but we just really liked his attitude. And then if we want to be 100% legit, Matt Zolkover practiced with us probably 2 or 3 practices.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, about that. We actually practiced in his garage.
We did. Our first practices were in his garage, and then it just didn't work out. I think that he's actually a really nice kid, and it was so nice that, I mean, we kicked him out. right?
Yeah.
Basically. Just because I wasn't feeling it, but he never held it against me.
No, he never complained.
No.
And when we got the demo out, he was like, "Oh, this sounds great, man. Good job.
Yeah,
I love
and
it."
it was more so just that he wanted to write songs, and I wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Like it was,
Chris wanted to write songs.
Not Chris. No, Matt.
no.
Oh, Matt.
Matt Zolkover. Yeah.
Yeah, Zolkover like wrote a song and wanted to play it. I
Yeah,
was
like totally like played the drums to it, and Zach's kind of like, "Yeah."
I can kind of it's like it was. I mean, that band was going to be my vision, and like that sounds like you're an asshole saying that, but you have to have someone that has the vision, and like especially when you have someone coming in that you don't know how long they're going to be around and stuff, and they're just going to be a second guitar. It's like the whole reason why my previous band broke up was because someone else wrote the songs and then left the band. So we couldn't play those songs anymore. So I don't want this guy writing these songs. And then it's like, oh, what if he writes the hit song and then leaves the band? Now, like, it's a cover band, right?
No, but you were never an asshole. I know this is gonna sound like a meathead saying, but you were actually kind of like a coach. I know that sounds really meathead and pretty stupid, but
aren't most coaches assholes?
well, they kind of have to be to make the team great.
Well, to make the vision for the thing come to life.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
But like, what is the vision for In Control when you start?
I don't know. To be honest with you, like when we start, it was just we wanted to do a band again because like that summer after Standing Around broke up, it was that weird summer where like all the shows were like dead as fuck except for like what the 97A show probably had 70 people. But then we did Buried Alive, Reach the Sky.
I remember that.
All Out War. There was
Out
like
War, yeah.
20 people.
Yeah.
You know, and even like it was before Standing Around broke up, but it was like that. It was on Easter, like Blood for Blood, Powerhouse. There was probably only like 50 people there. Like just
that
like
show was fun though.
no, that show is awesome, but like, why would that show have less than like a Voice of Defiance show? Like Voice of Defiance and Black Opal. That should not, so it's like the scene was going down, and our goal was to have a band and put the scene up, and then eventually just put Nard back on the map because it had been decades since like any of the Nard bands had toured the country.
Right.
In a city where we have one of the most strongest punk rock scenes ever since 1979, 1980. These shows that happen in this city should be like, there should be 300 or 400 kids every show. And that's not a lot of people. But to us, to a punk rock venue, that's fucking killer.
Yeah.
Fuck, if there's 60 people at a show and they're all into it, you got a great show. You got a great show.
Yeah, if you have the right room and 100 kids, your show's rocking and rolling.
Yep.
You know.
Now, do you think that like people weren't going to shows when there was no local band playing there because the scene was dying, or because the local bands were basically what was stimulating it?
No, I just think that they just didn't know about it.
It's a little of both. Plus, like it was so high school related that like summer's going to be harder because you can't flyer at high school. But I think it does help to have a big local band be like the focus, especially in that era when hardcore was so regional. And we are a small satellite scene that like we're not Los Angeles, we're not Orange County, we're not San Diego, and these places that have like they just have legacy scenes built in where like there's always a passing of the torch to like a new band or genre within hardcore. Nard at the time, you have the glory years in like the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Stretching in to like the late 80s when it kind of like goes away. And then you have like that early to mid 90s push. But a lot of it was like kind of separate from hardcore, like what we were doing, right? Like it seems weird talking about that now because the scene is so united, but like our bands weren't being put on shows.
Yeah, well, there was a whole other piece of hardcore that had kind of nothing to do with us.
Well, there wasn't really any, if you think back like 1994, 95, can you think of like an actual hardcore band from Oxnard? It was all just kind of like punk rock, new school, like kind of like.
It was like from gritty punk to like new school punk.
There was a lot of bands
and a lot of great bands.
Trust me.
Great bands, but they weren't. They would do like kind of the numbskull circuit of like going to Slow or going to Santa Cruz or maybe the Bay, maybe out to like Bakersfield,
maybe San Diego Corona.
Yeah, but
Showcase San Diego. Remember that place?
But not going out and like playing everywhere, and like Nardcore is not dead, you know, and a lot of them didn't put out records either. So like we wanted to do a full force band to put Nardcore back on the map. I mean, that was that.
That was one of my favorite stories about when Joe Rivas went on tour with Good Riddance. And Good Riddance is like, fuck you, Joe. Oxnard don't mean shit. Fuck hardcore. You guys don't mean nothing. And they were somewhere in the, I don't know, they're probably in Iowa or Minnesota. And sure enough, there's a sign right there, like a big giant billboard on the side of the freeway. And it said, Oxnard strawberries. And Joe's like, fuck you guys. We don't mean shit. Look at that. Strawberries from my city.
I mean, shit, man. Joe really lucked out.
It was like it just happened just like that. It's like, you know what?
Have you not had our strawberries?
Don't you realize what we produce for all you people?
Yeah. And then like, you know, I think it worked because the scene right now has never been firing harder. And and that doesn't, it's not a direct correlation to us, but we were like we were a part of like a rebirth of it. You know, that continues through to today. But like Nard right now is better than it's ever been. Better than like when we were doing shit. Because it's firing like every generation like is firing. From like the younger kids, the civil conflicts, to the pushing 30s, like the Dead Heats, to the us like pushing 40s, to like the dudes like, you know, the Joes that pushing 50s, and then to the fucking the Tonys, like, I hate to say it, but you know, mid 50s pushing 60s, right? It's like
He still rocks on stage.
dude,
That man can still move.
but that's every generation firing and playing in bands, and like that's it. It's just like right now, in my opinion, is like the salad days of this scene here, and it would be the time for someone to step up and document it if they wanted to do it.
You mean like have a podcast?
No, to basically put out Nardcore.
That's Patreon.
Put out Nardcore 3 if we want to consider localism Nardcore 2.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah. So
There's
anyway,
a lot of history here. There's
Yeah.
a lot of bands that came from here. There's a lot of people that love still going to shows, love music. You know, it's pretty killer.
yeah. So we do the demo, and we record the demo. It comes out right like a week before our first show. Our first show is the last Laser Star show
I remember that.
in Oxnard, and that is October of
October
1999.
1999.
Okay.
David Black got married the next day. In Simi Valley. It was fucking
It was
hot.
so fucking hot. It was so hot.
And we were drunk.
Yeah, we partied that night. And
Well, it was a blast.
it was a great show.
We had a great time.
Yeah, it was a great show.
So I mean, the demo's out before the show, and
Yeah.
the first show is sick.
I don't remember anything about the first show, to be honest with you. I was probably
remember-
so nervous.
I don't think we made a mistake, but I remember like I wasn't the front man that you wanted yet. Like I knew I had to get in the motions.
Well, I was not very good at guitar, so I highly doubt that my head was up much. I don't think that I was paying
you're probably
attention to you that much.
You're probably just looking at this.
Yeah.
I was looking at the crowd and what they were doing, and I'm going, dude, you guys, it's us. Get fucking crazy. Like we've earned this, all right? But I remember, I don't know.
We earned it. It's our first show.
Nah. We earned it through a lot more shit than that. All the stage dives we did, all the fucking fights that we've been in, it was pretty gnarly.
That's an interesting thing, though, is like, you know, some bands are kind of immediately like there's energy around them right when they come to be. And maybe that's because they're a
Hype.
former member of something, but like, I don't know, in a lot of ways, people like talk about bands that don't earn stuff, but like, you know, like you guys built the scene around here. Like, you know, it's kind of like.
Well,
do you
he
think
was in fucking, 3 bands before that? We were in 4.
Well,
By all
in
means,
Poach.
against all odds, in Poach.
in Poach?
I was going to say Voice of Defiance, but in Poach, they were the shit.
Nah, by all means, it was Roger's band.
By all means, you weren't in By All Means. You were in Against All Odds, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but neither of those bands meant anything. But Voice of Defiance and Stand Your Ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It meant something to me. I don't.
And I was like, I liked you guys.
Yeah, especially if you saw us when we were a 2-piece. It was like, dude, with this death metal pedal, we don't need a bass player, fool. I'm so fucking heavy.
I guess I'm trying to get at is like people are excited. Like people around Oxnard are excited about In Control. Because I mean, like you guys don't remember that first show being like good.
I remember being great. I remember we played first, and it was pretty crowded. Granted, there's probably only 200, 300 kids there. But, dude, that's pretty fucking badass for your first show. I remember we were kind of nervous. They didn't really do anything for us, but we played. I don't think we made a mistake. I don't think we fucked up live.
I don't know. I couldn't tell. We definitely didn't fuck up big. Nothing that you'd stop for.
Still got the picture of that first show. It had a USSA surf shirt on, and Fred Hammer, of course, slapped a big "It's Alive" sticker right over the NSSA surf logo. So it's like, yeah, I'm wearing an "It's Alive" shirt. Okay, cool. Like, fucking bullshit.
And I mean, what is that like for you, dude? Like, this is the first time you sang in a band with like your own words. You're singing. You're on stage.
Well, they weren't his words
I
yet.
only wrote
They
the
weren't his
lyrics to
words
the
yet.
shitty songs. Zach wrote all
No,
the lyrics.
I like that one lyric on the demo that you wrote. The "Be the first to say I'm sorry, be the last to start a fight." That's a good.
That's the first.
That is a
step
good
to getting
lyric.
seen.
That's a
Starting
good
to-
ass
yeah.
lyric.
That's a healthy contribution.
Yeah, that's
besides
like the
actually
only
singing
lyric I
anymore.
wrote that he likes. Everything else is, this is shit, this is shit. It's like, man, I know.
No, we. Well,
I wasn't there to write music. I was there to be the front man.
Yeah.
That was my job.
Yeah.
You know? I had to be scary and violent and cut myself. I mean, fuck, man, I did fucking blade jobs on stage. I mean, professional wrestlers do that. You know?
That's the only people who do that.
I do it too.
Yeah, I think it's aesthetically it worked because we went full in on the Nardcore thing, and we had beaten around the bush a little bit before in our earlier bands, you know. But it was like, you know, I think that before we were claiming like Oxnard hardcore and all that shit, and this one we were like full in going in like it's fucking Nardcore. Like we're taking the name and running with it.
We were all
like,
in and we weren't regional. We're like, dude, we're going to tour. We're going to go everywhere.
Yeah, well, but we had like the, you know, we took the name from Stalag. We took the logo from Stalag.
Yeah.
And it's like we're fully going in on this Nard shit, you know? And in our heads, we were like this band was going to last, right? And it did. I mean, 4 years is a nice run for a hardcore band. 4 years.
It's almost 5 years.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah. It's 5 years. But that last year, we barely did anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 LPs in 5 years and 4 U.S. tours and
That's pretty
a
fucking legit.
bunch of runs to Texas and up the west. Like,
Yeah.
no, it was fine.
We played in Kamloops, British Columbia, and the kids were chanting our name. Like these kids that probably only seen like 20 punk shows maybe in their life were fucking chanting our name because they were just stoked for us to be there. And it was like, fuck, man, this is one of the best shows we ever played.
Yeah, it
So,
was
I
a
mean-
very young crowd, and it was like we played that one, like the Iron Maiden part from that song on Another Year, like doo 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 doo, and they're all clapping,
They were like chant, like, fuck.
clapping along and shit. And then
That's like second U.S. tour.
no, that was
That
we
was
just
just
did
a
a
West
run.
Coast jaunt.
Yeah, we just went up.
We
But
played.
let's maybe back it out then for a second. Like the timeline between you guys putting out a demo and going on a first tour, like a lot happens pretty fast.
Well, we had a 7-inch out after the demo, of course.
Yeah, we went and recorded probably like 4 months later for the 7-inch, and not that long. And the sound we honed it in a little bit. The demo is pretty intricate, and I don't really know what I was going for on either. Really, it's just songwriting, but the demo of those songs are definitely a lot more intricate, and the 7-inch is like more straightforward, more like sing along friendly. The 7-inch comes out, and we played a lot of fucking shows that year.
Yeah.
Partly because we'd already made friends in San Diego, and San Diego had the Shea Cafe, and the Shea Cafe was firing, and Spencer had already established himself as the booker down there. So we had a friendly guy down there that was booking us. Also, the PCH was firing, full stop. So it was easy for us to go out of town because we had 2 really friendly clubs for us. They wanted to book us, and they knew us because we'd bed going to shows for years.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, the work we put in.
yeah. So we were friends with these people, and all you have to do is be a competent band, and they're going to book you, you know. And we were competent, and we played. I don't know, like on the list, but we played a shit, and also Headline Records.
Headline, yeah.
We played there a shit ton. You know, I never enjoyed a show there.
Never enjoyed playing or never enjoyed going.
I enjoyed
We had a
going.
good show there. We had a pretty good show
I'm
there.
sure we had a good show there, but for me, like playing on the floor with the lights on is always kind of like weird. I'd rather like kill the lights and buy a couple fucking
couple construction lights.
No,
yeah,
Great.
buy a couple construction lights, do something like just because like when the lights are on, I don't know, the band doesn't get into as much and the kids as much. There's just a little more like you're a little more timid, and me too. Like I wouldn't participate as much with the lights on, like when I'm going to see a band. You know, it's just not the same. Like there's something about like the vibe of like the lights going down and like a band comes out and they play a song. I mean, think about going back to what we were talking about before, like thinking about seeing Ignite, like one of the first times, and they fucking, you're at some club and they start playing the fucking Notes of Asher Turn, like the bass. It's like, dude, like
This fucking rules.
yeah, like you feel this like this feeling inside you, and it's like I'm gonna fucking go nuts, like. You know, like who's like you're looking around for whose shoulders you're gonna jump on.
Well, that's the interesting thing too, is because like you guys, I think, embrace that a lot, which was like the power of the intro.
Yeah,
Like not a lot of bands, your contemporaries, really were doing intros.
yeah. I don't know like what that is. It's that we loved Ignite and we loved One Life Crew, for sure. And those are two bands that have intros.
Yeah.
I don't know who else does. And is that and Leeway?
Leeway had a
Right?
great
Yeah.
intro.
You know,
But we were definitely all pretty obsessed with the One Life Crew intro.
the One Life Crew intro
course.
is very good. But yeah, we wrote that intro last minute. So we do the 7-inch. We do a year of like local shows. At the time, Over My Body was already on Indecision Records, and I worked at Starbucks for a year, and I was still living at home. I didn't have really any bills except for maybe my cell phone, and so I was able to like save up a bunch of money. I saved a few grand.
3,800.
Okay, so
3,800
$3,800.
bucks.
And so like we were just gonna record an LP and put it out, because that's the next logical step of, I don't know, that's kind of like what hardcore bands did then, right? You do a demo, then you do a 7-inch, then you do an LP.
Yeah.
It's like that's the order you do it in. And
Your LP typically sucks, and then you, then you go away.
your LP
like-
bombs
I
and you
mean,
fucking
I thought it was the best record of the year, personally.
Well, that's the thing is that's an interesting segue, because like, I mean, me personally, like this is like the first time I hear this LP is like in the van when we're literally leaving for tour.
Yeah.
And like, I like your band a lot, but then like your LP is something like that's significantly different.
But the LP didn't come out until. Remember, we put out the demo, then the 7-inch, then we went on tour,
yeah.
and the LP was going to come out because
Yeah,
we didn't
so we
sell
had it
the
on
LP
tape.
until-
No, I know it's
Yeah,
not
I know.
out.
We
but
had it on tape.
We're
but it
listening
wasn't
to it in
out
the
yet.
van.
So
We're like
we
literally
toured
like
on
driving
basically
out to
the
Vegas.
7-inch.
But let me get to the LP. So we were gonna put it out ourselves, but then Daniel Sant from Over My Body, they were already on Indecision. He kept telling me, "Go talk to Dave. Go talk to Dave." And it's like, how fucking awkward is that? Like, I don't know if I'd talked to Dave Mandel more than 3 times in my life. You know, like just kind of like hi. You know, like I don't know what the fuck. And so it's so awkward that someone's like goading me, and so like I basically called him and just said like, "Hey, can I come over?" or some shit. And it was like, it's like the most fucking awkward thing I've ever had to do in my life, you know? But I mean, obviously he probably knew what it was about, right? So I went and talked to him, and like, I already had like, I have this giant In Control tramp stamp, you know, that goes all the way across my back, you know? And I was like, I went to him, I talked to him, if I remember this right, and I'm going to get Dave on here and maybe he remembers, but he probably doesn't. This is probably way more important to me than him. He's like, I don't fucking remember. I don't give a shit.
It's like they already recorded it.
It's fine. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like,
It's like I put out In Control Records.
I know. It's like, fuck. I know we were a drain, huh? But anyway, I remember telling him like, I saved up all this money. I'm gonna put out our LP, so like, it's not gonna break my heart if you don't do it. But if you put out our LP, I promise you, I will spend all the money that I saved on the LP to purchase a van, and we're committed to going on tour, and we're not going to break up because I have this giant fucking tramp stamp that says In Control on it, you know? And he was on board, and so we went and we recorded another year, at Double Time Studios in El Cajon,
El
California.
Cajon, California.
And I don't even remember why. I think maybe Over My Body recorded there. I know Unbroken recorded there.
Todd Jones
Is this with Paul
recorded
Miner or
there.
is it not?
No.
No, it wasn't Paul Miner yet. No, this was the year before. But I remember Todd Bodybag specifically said, he's like, go to Double Time. You guys will fucking love it. You'll get your money's worth.
I think Carry On did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
because they
Carry
didn't
On
roll with
did.
the punches.
I think they did it there.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, fine, sure. And we didn't really think twice about it. Like, sure, let's go. We stayed at Daniel Sand's house that night before we went. And we, of course, we were drinking 40s. And I think I spilled my 40 over Daniel's carpet.
No, this is funny though, because I went out because I was like, hey, "Can we drink beer?" And he was like, kind of bummed, like, "Oh man." I was like, "Come on, dude! Like, you knew what you were in
I
for."
know you're straight.
And
It's cool. Come on.
And so I went out and I got those fucking.
knew what you were in for.
I got those.
Don't act like
I got those Country Club 40s because they have the 3 X's on them. It's like the fucking shittiest,
Come on,
worst
dude.
beer. It's like, see, dude, we compromised. Fucking straight edge beer.
And of course, my luck. I spilled a beer over his carpet. He's fucking pissed.
But it's the favorite beer of the English straight edge man.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course. We woke up the next morning. I'm like, all right, Zach. I was still kind of asleep. I'm like, Zach, we gotta get on the 10. We gotta get El Cajon. Zach's like, no, we gotta get on the 8. I'm like, no, we gotta get on the 10. We gotta go east to El Cajon. He's like, Ryan, we're in San Diego. The 8 runs east and south. I'm kind of going, oh yeah, sorry. Still kind of asleep.
That's so weird. That's the weirdest thing to remember. So yeah,
You don't remember that at all?
No. And so we record the record over, like, we did it in 2 days, I think.
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, 2 consecutive
Third day
days,
for
and then the
mixing.
third day was the day after. We had a day off. I don't know why. If you look at the record, it says like July 21st, 23rd, and 24th or something. I don't know. But if you see it, you'll notice it was in 3 days.
Okay. So we recorded in 3 days, and then and I think that we must have recorded right before we went on tour, because if you're saying we had the tape of it
We had the
when
tape.
we went on
Yeah.
tour, but we didn't have that out. But we also did a CD on 6 Weeks that we recorded with Armo of Night Demon fame, and
It was
that
basically-
CD came out on 6 Weeks, which was the demo on the 7-inch re-recorded, which was weird.
Jeff and Athena. Was it Jeff 6 weeks?
Yeah, Jeff and
Yeah.
Athena from 6
Yeah,
Weeks.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It was just the demo and the 7-inch put together.
yeah.
And why re-record that?
I don't know. I think that it's weird because I actually really like how the 7-inch sounds. So maybe I didn't like it then, but definitely like the demo recording is weird because we're like, if there's no distortion on the guitar, it sounds like my shit is. I didn't know anything about playing guitar, and like, you're with people in a studio and they're like, I don't know, they care about tone and shit. And it's like, I don't fucking want tone. I just want to be heavy, like, but I don't know how they set my guitar, like, but it literally sounds like fucking Minor Threat distortion. And like, we're trying to play these like songs that should be sounding heavy,
Yeah.
And so like, I definitely wanted to re-record that, but it didn't get any better. And re-recording anything is stupid.
Well,
it never works out.
It's actually kind of funny that you say that, because I remember when we went to Double Time Studios in El Cajon, the guy that was recording us, he was like, okay, what do you guys want to sound like? And Zach's like, go to the van, get the One Life Crew record, and just let him listen to that. But I didn't have it. So what I had Hatebreed Satisfaction set that is the Death of Desire. I'm like, look, man, this is as close as I can get. And it's like, all right, just let him listen to it. So he listened to it for like 2 songs. He goes, okay, I got it. All right.
For breaking the curse?
No,
This was
for another year.
for another year.
Oh, for another year.
For another year. But I wanted to play him the One Life Crew record, Crime and Society, but we didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, dude.
I mean, but your record does sound sick. It doesn't sound Hatebreed sick, but it sounds pretty fucking amazing.
It sounds
like compared to everything before it.
Totally, but it's also it's weird. The drums sound weird. It sounds really dated to me, but it does sound dark in a way that I like. Kind of like. Do you pick that up at all?
It sounds different. Like it's hard for me to find another record. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the time when everyone was doing that, because it sounds really different. I don't mean the songs. We can get into that, but like the recording is way different.
Yeah, it's just it kind of falls into. I don't know. Like, I love that Outspoken record so much, and that sounds kind of different than everything else.
Love that record.
It's
It's a little spacey sounding.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's not for hardcore that's so in your face. Like, In Control is not a in your face record. It's weird, but some of the songs were. But I don't know. That recording's fucking wonky and weird.
We I bowl every Tuesday, and we have every week where if your team number is that week, you get to play whatever music you want, and everybody has to listen to it. And it wasn't our week. Some other guy had it, and he played 3 In Control songs. I'm like, yes, we made it. We fucking made it.
We made it. We
played
crossed
the
over into
bowling
jock
alley.
culture.
Buena Lanes has claimed In Control.
No, it was Cambodia. We don't bowl in Ventura. We bowl in Camarillo. But it was just cool, like, because every week, any team could.
Try to catch up over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up. Well, I learned earlier today that the new nickname for Camarillo is Cambodia.
I never say Camarillo anymore.
Like, I literally asked Ryan, I was like, dude, what street do you live on?
Cambodia.
Now? He's like, Cambodia. I'm like, so California Street? Like, what are we talking about?
Like, where the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, congratulations on reaching.
No, it was just a good feeling because they played the song "What Is Right," and I'm going,
Ooh.
holy fuck! Like, and I kind of step back and I look at Dave and Nick. I'm like, dude,
Also,
this
that's
is us.
Also, that's fucking deep in the cut. Song
Yeah,
selection.
that was our
That was the first song of the second side.
that was our opus.
Yeah. I'm a What Is Right fan. Never heard it live. I don't think ever.
Nick kind of looked at me. He's like, "Look, Ryan, nobody gives a fuck." Wow. But then he was like, "I love this song, but I'm just telling you, I want to bring you back down to earth." Because I got so excited. I'm like, "It's us, man."
Yeah. Yeah. So everyone should know that Aaron, who's here, he was the roadie on our first tour, and we toured in August of 2001. Is that it?
It was late July, mid-August 2001, and that tour was not easy.
And
That
it was
was
with
pretty
it was
rough.
with Fields of Fire.
Yep.
Who
We had no drummer. We had Graham.
we used Graham from Fields of Fire, so that was good that we went with another band.
And played, yeah. It was quite convenient, actually.
And then I'm
Even
trying
though
to.
they never let us stay at all their crash pads.
That's true.
That was rough.
That's,
We slept in the van
Every night.
almost every single night, and yeah, I don't know, because people don't understand this is like before high speed internet, so it's like you're not really like getting to chat it up with like the people of the area, like I don't know. We went out with like we'd print all our shit before we went.
yeah,
we had like
printed
an itinerary.
MapQuest directions every night.
Yeah,
we didn't
no.
have MapQuest. We had our Atlas, which I still have, by the way.
We had both.
And I had to study all the routes. Like, to get to Kirksville, Missouri, I had to figure out, like, okay, guys, we can go this way or we can go this way. You want
We
to
had
take this-
MapQuest in 01 though, didn't we?
Yeah, no, I printed the
We-
MapQuest directions on
Yeah,
my sister's computer.
yeah, I think we did,
Like
right.
every.
He
But we
told
used
me,
the Atlas
he's
probably
like, "Look,
predominantly."
I want you to write all this shit down. And I actually looked at the map of the country, and I was like, okay, we're going this city to this city.
Well, we had
So I
to.
take these-
Okay, so I believe that we always toured after MapQuest was around, and we would print stuff out. But this was like MapQuest in its like infancy, because like there were places that weren't mapped. So I'm sure that if we went to Kirksville probably was not mapped yet.
No,
Because
it
I
was a little
remember,
tiny
right,
town.
right. So like you just had like the freeways that probably went, but guaranteed, Oxnard to Las Vegas, you could do a MapQuest.
Yeah.
To get to MGM,
It's
to
also-
get to a hotel.
I mean, it's also not pre cell phone, but it's pre like most regular dudes.
It's pre
having-
we had a cell phone.
It's pre like
He was doing
regular
with
ass
a cell
dudes
phone,
having
and it
cell
was,
phones.
No, I didn't
Like-
have a cell phone in 01. I got a
Oh,
cell,
you got some on the second tour.
I got a cell phone
Yeah.
for the
And
second
it
tour.
wasn't a flip phone. It was just like the,
like a burner.
yeah, like you just like press a button.
Yeah. So, because if you remember, one time we MapQuested to go and play Andy Diehard's place in Tehachapi, and the map, like, I didn't look at it, I just printed it. I was like, oh, you put in the address and shit, whatever. It printed, and it just dropped us off in the city center. Like, I looked at it once we were there, I was like,
Yeah.
Now
oh, it's
where do
not
we go?
actually taking us. It took us to Tehachapi. It got us to Tehachapi, but it just took us to city center, and it's like, and then it's like, what the fuck? Now we got to go call on a payphone and hope his mom picks up. Mm-hmm.
Was that the gig that we played with Movie Life, or
I think it was that garage show, yeah, because we
the
only
garage?
played there
Remember,
once, I think.
there was that lady with the little dog, and I ran as fast as I could. And that dog was like biting my. I was like, the dog was like biting my heels the entire time. We had everybody rolling after that. It was fucking great.
Wait, I mean, another thing happens on the tour though, because there's a kind of multi-tour odyssey that starts on that tour.
Well, we should talk about like how gnarly the first few shows were, because like you're setting off across the country for your first time ever. You're in a van. Our van, like we'd had the van for a few months, and it was just it was having problems overheating. So what we were doing is we drove through the night. We drive through the night all the time and have the heater on. So like we left the night before to go to Vegas. So you drive through the night because if people don't know, there's like coming from Oxnard to Vegas, there's like 2 really big hills you have to go over. And like, you know, in the summertime out there in the desert, it can be over 100 degrees easily. So like if you're going to overheat anywhere, it's going to be on one of those big ass hills on the way to Vegas. So we went through the night. Our first show was in Las Vegas, and it was like, we were like looking at the map and it's like, well, there goes Vegas. Like it's like behind us. And we go and we show up because we're early as fuck. And it was like up in these hills above Vegas.
Yeah, it was in the desert outside the city.
It's in the middle of the desert.
There's a picture that I still have right now that I always look at. It's me, Zach, and Robert that you took. And it's 115 degrees outside. Sun's up in the sky. And we're all just kind of like this.
We look so road burned, and we've been on tour for 24 hours.
Show?
We haven't even played a show yet.
I remember like it's like 110 degrees, and Robert and I are splitting like a Safeway chicken, like out in the middle of the desert. And I feel like I've been on tour for like my whole life. And we're also out in the desert where it's like the desert where you like bury bodies kind of desert, like
pretty much
it's like a concrete
and
slab.
and just where dudes go to party, because remember there was all those bottles.
Yeah, and I played
that were
barefoot that
unbroken.
night.
Yeah.
There was all these unbroken beer bottles, which was really fun because we had hours to kill, and we were just breaking
every single. We had a baseball bat where we were pitching the bottles, remember? And, and they would just disintegrate. You have to close your eyes before you hit the bottle because it was like you didn't want to get the glass in your eyes.
Yeah, and then like these people show up, and we think that like maybe this is just a meeting point, and like they got like a fucking clubhouse somewhere, you know, like and they're like, we're like, hey, so where are we playing? They're like, right there, and it's like a fucking pile of broken glass.
It was broken glass with a little concrete enclave. Yeah. It was fucking great.
So we played that night, and there was actually a fair amount of people there.
Oh, there's a lot of people there.
There's like 100 people there.
Yeah,
at least.
It was a decent show.
No, it was killer.
Yeah, and then the next day though, we drive through the night to Denver, Colorado, to play a junkyard.
A junkyard where they had no money to pay us, but so the guys that like lived there was like, all right, I don't got any money to pay you guys, but check this out. I'm gonna siphon some gas. We're gonna give you some gas. And so he puts a tube through some like old used cars and hold on, the fuse are making me really dizzy.
He went and tried to siphon gas out of like 5 cars.
I'm like, dude, it's okay.
And he had to sit down. Like he was loopy, and we're like, dude, you tried your best.
Like he gave it a shot, man. That's fucking cool.
And then there were these dudes at that show that were talking about like they do like gutter fishing. Like just it was a thing. Like I just overheard him. I was like, yeah, I was fishing in the gutter the other day, and like, you know, he caught something that was cool. Like, I got a new Walkman or something. Like, I think if I dry it out enough, it'll work. You know, like some shit. Like literally, because like it just rained like the week before, and the dude fishes in the gutter to see what comes along. You know, I was like, oh shit. And then I think we drive to Kirksville, Missouri.
Yeah, the third show was in Kirksville. Because then after that, we went to Iowa. So the third show was Kirksville, Missouri. We played in that remember that little hole in the wall? Red bricks that have been there for probably 200-300 years.
And I recall Kirksville would be kind of a nice show.
No, it was killer.
It was in like a nice place, in like a little nice downtown.
The second year, not so nice. The first show, it was pretty cool, man. They fed us goulash. You remember that? It's like, they gave us food.
And one of those years we went to the public pool.
Yeah.
Was it with you the first year?
No, that was
I was there.
You were there when the kid goes, in control kicks butt. Do you remember that?
I mean, the thing
is DVD.
Is the whole, like, every night of that tour, we were trying to find some water to go in because we couldn't
free fun
shower.
Yeah. And I think
it was a little bit hot, it turns out, in other parts of the country that aren't Oxnard.
A little bit?
I think we swam the first 8 days. I remember
because we were in Rifle, Colorado. Remember we went in that lake and it was freezing cold and we still jumped in? It's like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, because I think we made it all the way. When we were in Chicago, we still swam, and I think that our streak hadn't been broken yet. I think and Chicago, that would end up around like that 8th day. And then I feel like after that, then we didn't get to swim every day.
Well, Chicago, we went to Lake Michigan.
That's right.
Yeah, and we got
it
booked
seems
by
so.
the lifeguard.
Because I was literally bathing. I literally had a
Remember,
bar
I
of soap
turned
in
on
the
the
lake.
water, all the trash came up. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck,
yeah. We went in. Well, we went in to Lake Michigan, and we had bars of soap, and we're bathing ourselves in the lake,
Lake Michigan?
and it looked like it looked super clean and pristine. I'm like, there's a lifeguard, and they have these beaches and shit, and then we're like, moving your feet around and shit, and like all these cigarette butts are coming up, and like fucking trash and condoms and fucking.
It's all
we're
good.
bathing in this?
It's all good. I got a bar of antibacterial soap.
And the lifeguard actually left her beach and ran over to us like, guys, really, you can't be here. You have to go over there and pay $6 to go to the beach. I'm like, lady, I'm from fucking Southern California. All right. Actually, I'm from Central California. I don't need to pay you $6 to go to fucking water. I can swim across this goddamn lake.
First off, we're bathing in this fucking lake.
Yeah.
Do you think we have money? Like,
I might not have your $6. We're on $12 per diems. Like,
I think one day I actually ate a bag of peanuts, and that was it. I had one bag of peanuts, and I ate that for the entire day. And that was it. I maybe had a soda. I don't know.
But Ryan, you eating a bag of peanuts as a meal since you eat the shell too.
Of course. Doesn't everybody eat the shell?
everyone eats the shell. You eat the shells of peanuts?
Yeah.
Right now, you do that. Like, we're Dodger
Every
Stadium
time
the
I go to
other
Dodger
day.
Stadium, I
You
fucking-
catch a foul ball and you're eating peanuts with the shells
the
on.
peanut guy knows me. Yeah.
Shell guy.
It's like four guys.
There's
in
the
bed.
shell guy.
That's why he knows you.
Exactly, dude.
The shell is edible. It's edible. You can eat it.
Yeah, tree bark is edible if you swallow it.
No, tree barks don't taste good. Their shells taste good.
Because it's covered in salt.
Yes, it's covered in salt. It's fucking good, man.
I mean, because most of Zach's listeners out there, they suck on the shell because it's full of delicious salt, and they open it either with their teeth or their hands.
Everybody thinks that I'm insane. I actually think I'm the most sane person on this earth. I think everybody else is fucking crazy.
You might just be ahead of the curve. That's what it is. Like, you're the harbinger of the future, where we're all struggling to find peanut protein.
We're gonna take a break.
What do you have in that canteen from the future?
This canteen from the future is full of ground up peanut shells. I recently learned that they're high in protein and they help you catch foul balls.
I think our next gig after Chicago was Twin Cities, St. Paul, not Minneapolis, Twin Cities, Minnesota, right?
That would have been before that.
It was
so
before
because we
that?
cut up from
Oh, it was in Iowa. No,
we cut up from Kirksville and then went to Minneapolis, St.
Yeah.
Paul.
we played St.
And then,
Paul in a basement.
But then we would have gone to Chicago after that,
Okay, so that was actually that was our fourth show or fifth
something
show.
like that.
Yeah,
and that was a
St.
sick
Paul as well.
And that was a sick basement show with like tear it up and shit. And I got so many mosquito bites that night. It looked like I had a disease.
Dude, I did a stage dive on a grass lawn, and the blades of grass cut
Yeah.
my fucking skin apart.
We went in those sprinklers.
Yeah, remember?
Totally remember that.
And
And
we
we
were
were,
saying, I was like, dude, I'm fucking bleeding from grass and sprinkler heads. Like, what the fuck? But we had to do it
you done
because it
gone
was
soft, boy.
It was hot, and we needed to get wet.
Yeah.
It was like every chance we could, we'd get in water. I mean, we got
Yeah.
to Gibson Landing and we started playing with snowballs, and people were like, dude, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing? It's freezing outside. Fuck you. I want to throw some snowballs.
Dude, it's that tour was so hot constantly. And you wake up in the van with no relief, and you wake up in the van with Zach's 4-stripe Adidas. They were just like chilling, like not a sock was worn the entire summer, and it was
We finally get
really
to
foul.
Michigan. And it's
Spent all my money
it's
on a
cold.
van. I couldn't afford Adidas anymore.
I got the best story. I was sleeping in the van next to Zach. We were sardines, so his feet were there and my head was here. And I remember I turned around just to shift because it was so miserable. And I put my nose right in his Adidas shoe. I was like, whoa! it was just like, fuck, man.
Hey, at least I never jerked off on your blanket like Tony did.
Fucking Tony, dude. It's like, Tony, did you come in my blanket? Yeah. Well, why did you do that?
Yeah.
And he kind of was like, well, wouldn't you have done the same thing? I'm like,
Like-
no, I would have gotten a fucking napkin or some bathroom tissue.
Where was I to ejaculate?
I had to think there was something.
There were so few ejaculation spots in the van.
And I was laying on my blanket just going, what the fuck? is this semen?
Jesus. So you're right with like the heat being relentless on that tour, and that tour was booked, I think, by Bedge and by Bedge and Jesse.
And Jesse,
Yeah,
probably,
Jesse,
I think primarily Jesse.
Okay, so Bedge. Well, okay, so Bedge and Jesse. So anyway,
So
I
they
just
did a
remember
good job
that
in
state.
their order.
No, they didn't, because we went back and forth. Like, remember on the East Coast, like we'd be like, we're playing like Virginia, and now we're playing like up, and then we're playing back down in DC, and it's like we were all over the fucking place once we hit the East Coast.
East Seaboard, yeah, but their path.
No,
through
the path going
country
out was fine.
and coming back was, even though we skipped 4 fucking states when we left Georgia, we went right through. We didn't play Mississippi.
Yeah, we didn't
right?
play that many shows on the way back.
Yeah, we just kind of came through the.
Yeah, it was like a big beeline. It was like a long beeline out and a long beeline back.
Actually, that's funny because that
Because we
was
played North Carolina, and then we didn't play
we
a show
played-
until
we played-
Texas.
we played Raleigh, and that's when Robert picked Bedge up and body slammed him, and we didn't see Bedge again until
You
we
body
played.
slammed him, fool.
Yeah. What the? You
Yeah,
think
but-
Robert body slammed?
No. I
Ben?
body slammed him, but
No,
when we got back home.
no, let's
Okay, we'll get to that.
the
This is good too.
Oh shit!
I body slammed Bedge, but I did add a good humor. It was fun. It was like I didn't feel bad about the guy. I just wanted to have fun. He took it the wrong way, but I didn't see him
Good
again.
form, dude. You look like a prime Dino Bravo.
It
Seriously.
was. So wait. Let's just back it out for a second. So this show, this is Raleigh, North Carolina.
3 stories up, by the way.
3 stories up, the most horrific load-in of that tour, maybe all time.
Yeah.
And Fields of Fire is playing.
I already told this story on another podcast.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
See, we haven't. Since we should have listened to the Fred one before
You
this.
gotta listen to the Fred one.
I
Stay
can't,
up to
like-
date.
Fred was actually there.
Stay up to date
Okay.
and mush that Patreon button.
Funny you should ask.
But the funny thing is, we
Funny
didn't see him again for their 2
I want to hear
days.
from Ryan's first-person perspective.
Oh yeah, Robert body slam Bedge. It was crazy.
You know what I'm talking about. Like, you know where I was coming from.
What I was trying to say though is like the heat being so bad and unrelenting, like you talk about, is fucking insane, because we slept in the van every night except for probably 4 or 5 nights, and it was a short tour. It was 3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks.
Right? Maybe a tiny bit over 3 weeks. It might have been like 3 weeks and a day. But that is so long to not have a consistent shower, and like that is way hotter than any of us are used to. We're from Oxnard, and like we have perfect fucking weather in Oxnard.
Yeah.
Like absolutely perfect. Like hot is just wear a tank top. Cold, just put on a hoodie. You know, like it's perfect.
Every time we stopped at a gas station, not only did I take a whore bath in the sink, I would take Tony's shirts and I would scrub them with soap and rinse them out with my hands, because the smell was so pungent and bad. I would okay, I'm going to wash myself. Okay, put soap in my hair. Not shampoo, just soap. And then I would take Tony's clothes and I would fucking plunge and scrub. You know, the old school plunge and scrub.
I mean, I really wish you would have taken that kind of care with Zach's shoes.
Step up.
I didn't want to touch those things, man. No fucking way, dude.
But anyway, like, so they booked that tour, and that was in my head that never again am I going to book a tour in August. It's
Never.
stupid. And the next year we went in in 2002,
It was the month of June.
our tour is based around playing pausing numbers.
Yeah.
Because it was an 02. So we had to book it around something. But in 03, we went on 2 tours.
Yeah.
And like that was like fully me in control and not having to book around anything. And if you remember, we went in April and we went in like,
September.
well, late September and October.
Yep.
And it's like, that's like the fucking perfect touring months. Is like April and October is like, the weather is the best it can be across the country, you know? So that's what I learned from the first tour, other than the Fields of Fire is a terrible band. I'm just joking. I really do love the first 7-inch. And everyone should buy it. It's fucking good.
And you guys were playing a lot with them, like locally at the time.
Yeah,
Those have
and,
been good
and they
shows.
were good. And Bedge was, I actually like that style. I think that they should get more props. Like, if you like Betrayed, you should like Fields of Fire a lot. I think those two are very similar, like kind of like.
Well, they're very melodic, and I don't know. They were just like a straightforward melodic hardcore
both
band.
melodic and both just have a lot to say. Like,
Yeah, the vibe, the message is similar.
They're well thought out songs. Like Bedge was not trying to write filler songs. He was like, I got 6 songs. I'm going to try to have 6 good topics. So, and I appreciate that. It's just they had a crash pad every fucking night, and they wouldn't even let us like park the van in the fucking driveway. You know?
I had to sleep. Okay.
So like if they have to be like whipping boys for some jokes, then so be it, dude.
And they would never like remember that too.
No, because we're staying. Okay, it's fucking terrifying if you think about it. Like we were 20 and 21, and we're in these places of the country we've never been before, and you want to like get sleep. So you want it to be like dark, but you want to stay safe. So you want to be somewhere like kind of populated, but then you want to fly under the radar. So you don't want it to be populated. And it's just like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're just parking the van in a fucking parking lot and hope you don't get fucked with.
Yeah.
You know?
All like Walmart parking lot situations and stuff like that.
When really it's like, you're the easiest motherfuckers to rob.
Yeah.
You know? You're a bunch of fucking white kids that are carrying around a lot of money, you know? And you're like, you're in neighborhoods you don't know, you don't understand, you don't know where you are.
Dude, we played a gig in Hyattsville, Maryland. You remember this. We played to one guy. And that guy that we played to was the promoter of the show. Well, the other people in the room was Fields of Fire.
Yeah, well...
And Zach got lost that night with Robert.
The show in El Paso was the same thing.
Yeah,
there was
El Paso,
literally no one there but the actual band.
That was Las Cruces.
But they fed us. It was El Paso.
Was it El Paso?
Yeah, it was El Paso.
That was Las Cruces.
No, it was El Paso. And that club was cool, and they fed us. They fed us veggie burgers.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they paid us $8. It's like, you can't round up. Just give us a 10 spot.
Make it even 10.
You know? But, yeah. Anyway.
But like I was saying, like, okay, every night, I remember that night after that Hyattsville gig, after we found you and Robert, or you guys found your way back, I had to sleep across the 2 front seats of the van, and I used our 2 bags of t-shirts they made us sell. I used that as a back support. So I was pouring sweat on all of our merch. I'm just sitting there going like, this is fucking miserable. Like it's 4:00 in the morning. I got all the windows down. It's 101 degrees outside and it's 99% humidity. This is fucking miserable. And this isn't comfortable to sleep across 2 front seats of a goddamn fucking Dodge Ram van.
Oh yeah. We had to rotate into the front seats, but I think you did it the most.
I think I did the most, but there was a couple times where you actually slept on top of them. Remember, because we had
top of the amps.
Top of the amps. We had the amps on the side, and you had to sleep on top of there. It's like, dude.
You know, like the van has come up, I think, in a lot of episodes of this podcast, but I think people don't fully grasp that it's not a large van. It's not like a big 15 passenger. This is a small.
It's not a minivan. Van. It was like a family van.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a regular ass van.
Yeah, it used to have a table. We poured that table out, and we used the fucking hole as a pistol.
I saw Spencer last weekend. And he's the guy we sold the van to. After 01, we get back, and I don't really remember what we did. We just played more local shows, I think.
But can we tap into like just I don't want to harp on this tour too long, but like probably one of the best and worst days of that tour were back to back. If you think about Plattsburgh, New York.
Oh, some things we don't talk about, dude.
Can't
some
talk about
things you don't say.
Some questions you don't ask. That was actually a pretty good show. That really was.
Yeah.
And I remember before we started playing, Graham was like, hey.
That was a decent show, and it was a fun day.
Yeah, it was a fun day. Actually, that day was a blast. I have lots of pictures from
Jumping
that day.
off those bridges?
Dude, I have a picture
bridge?
of remember the what are those fucking little fireworks called?
Bottle rockets.
Bottle rockets.
Yeah.
Remember when I shot one out of my ass?
Yeah.
And then we had the bottle rocket war, and of course, I just nailed. Was it Jesse that I nailed right in the face?
Yeah.
Bloody nose.
We were having so much fun. Those bridges. It's like this dammed up river in like Plattsburgh, New York.
It was in Morrisonville.
Morrisonville. It's very upstate, like closer to Montreal. And we're just having fun jumping off the bridge. And Chris Grande from Fields of Fire and Annihilation Time, he actually, at the time, I don't know if he can now, but he couldn't swim. And like that was such
That's
a ballsy
right.
move. Do you remember that? Because
Remember, 'cause we had
he's
to-
like I want to jump, and we're like, oh shit, like Chris is gonna jump, and he can't even swim. So I was like, I told him, I was like, if you jump in, like we'll have a circle, and
And we
I will
did.
get you.
Yeah.
I will get you, and I'll get you on my back, and I'll swim you out of here.
Remember
And
when
I
we formed a
did.
circle around him? Like when
I
he
did.
jumped, we were right next to him, and,
Yeah.
and Zach actually carried him, and I was like holding his feet. Like
Yeah,
but he
Ballsy
still
move,
that's
fucking
so
did it.
ballsy that he fucking did it. Like,
It's like, dude, if you're here, you got to do it. Like, come on, man.
because it was a perfect fun jump. It was probably like 30, 35 feet, and no like
yeah,
possibility
but the top
of
rail was
injury.
79 feet, and that was fucking scary.
Yeah, but just
yeah.
as a normal jump.
That
But
backwoodsy dude jumped off the top. That was insane.
I know.
that's like almost
I hung on the.
that really
on the
happened,
bottom.
huh? That's like a thing where I can't remember if it was
No,
like
the
a
guy,
dream
like,
or not. I remember
He
ran
climbed
up
up
he
the
walked
side
up
of
the
it.
side of it like it was nothing and did it.
Yeah.
But I feel like did that guy? He didn't go all the way off the top, did he?
All the way off the
Yeah.
top.
Okay, because
100%
I
off the top.
remember it then. Like I had a fucking weird dream about it. It was like some like native dude, and like
Well, he was native to the area for sure.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, I remember it being like a story, like, oh yeah, and then so and so just showed up and walked right on the top,
Yeah.
and did a swan dive and left.
Well, the story the year before was he actually went up there with a 6-pack of beer, drank all 6 beers, and then jumped. But when we were there, he just fucking.
I mean, in my head, he was wearing jeans too. Does
Yeah.
that check out?
Sounds about right. I have a picture of all jumping off the bridge, but then I have a picture of me climbing up the metal broworks, and I get up I'm like this, laughing, and then I'm hanging. I have another picture, and then I have a picture of me mid-flight, and then there's another picture of me in the water going, yeah, like because I didn't hurt anything. I didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Dude, that's 79 feet. That's pretty fucking high.
That's so high you can really hurt yourself.
But the way that I flung myself out,
yeah,
I was just kind of, I don't know. I just nailed the jump. I nailed the landing. I was like, oh, no big deal. If I did that now, I'd probably crack my sternum, crack my tailbone, break 3 ribs, maybe
you just
puncture a
turn
lung.
into a piece of dust.
Because your luck is bad or because your body is old?
I've beat the shit out of my body in the past 10, 15 years. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
So Aaron, was that a bad day or a good day?
That's a great day.
That was a great day.
Okay, what's the worst one that's next to it?
What's that?
Because you're like, oh, it's crazy. that, like one of the best days and the worst days is back to back.
I mean, when
Well,
they,
there's a part that you're not wanting to talk about, so we're not going to talk about it, right?
No, we can
we can talk about that.
We can talk about the first tour part.
Yeah, we can talk about the first tour part.
Yeah, well, it's just the story's been told. Just read MRR. Fuck.
Find that.
Zach does an interview the next year through this guy who's working for Maximum Rock and Roll, and he goes, yeah. They do the whole interview. It's about 45 minutes. I'm sitting right there. I'm listening to every single word. And Zach goes, and by the way, fuck Maximum Rock and Roll. And I'm like, why? He's like, that's my name. That's my name. They publish in that magazine that 50,000 people read. It's like,
I don't know if it was
fuck them.
50. It was probably like 20. But
That, well, they
but
claimed
none
it
of
was
them
50,000.
took fucking responsibility
print it.
because every time that we played Gilman, there was like people from there, and I'd always ask them like, who fucking let this letter get printed?
Yeah.
And it'd be all,
They'd be
oh,
like,
no, I don't know. It's like, dude, fuck you.
And
That's
they
some
didn't-
bullshit.
They didn't print that interview that you gave too.
Yeah, but they're not going to print every interview.
Yeah, but that was a pretty good interview. It's like, especially if somebody told me to go fuck myself, I'd be like, all right, I can respect that. I want to fucking let everybody read this. See
Do
what
you
they
guys
think
actually
about
want to give context to this story, or do you want to just move on?
No, I don't want to move on.
Okay. So that tour ends.
it. I could talk about it for like 2 days straight.
It's not a bad story.
If you pound that Patreon button, we can tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. You listen to 185 Miles South Premium. The pay-per-view version.
Yep. Moving on.
Check it out on Zach's Premium Snap.
So we get back and we just play more shows, I think, and we probably jump right into.
I think.
Well, no,
what
Truth
happened
versus
was, I think we.
203.
No, the end of the first tour, we got a show that got canceled. Right?
Yeah.
We were playing Phoenix. And
That is the
something-
perfect sign of how gnarly the tour was, actually, is the
Because
feeling.
they're like, tomorrow night's show's canceled, and we're all like,
We're gonna go back to California.
Oh my God. And we drove straight through, like
Yeah.
straight from El
yeah,
Paso
nonstop.
that night.
I remember we got on the I-10 freeway and I just felt the Pacific Ocean air, like, oh. Because when we were driving through Arizona, I remember I was like, hey, Robert, because he was sitting shotgun. I'm like, dude, the van's overheating. I got to click on the heater. And I'm going to do it full blast. And he's like, what? He didn't really understand what I was saying. It's like, I need to take heat off the engine because we got to the next gas station, which is 50 miles from here. So I crack on the heater, and he doesn't even know. He's just sitting there going, dude, I just want to go home, man.
Well, we should tell that story about. So we're in
Austin,
Austin, Texas, like right at the end, and tour. I don't know now because like everyone has a smartphone and fucking an iPad, right? But then it was like
we had nothing.
When it's so hot, it's like all we would do is we'd get there early, go to either Taco Bell or Starbucks, and just sit there for fucking 7 hours playing spades.
Me, you, and Zach go to Starbucks, right? Yeah. And we sit in the nice, cool, air-conditioned Starbucks. Zach's got
just play cards, fucking
we were
whatever.
Just hanging out. We have no idea where Robert is. Where the fuck is Robert? So finally, after 4 or 5 hours of playing spades in an air conditioning room, we go around the corner and we see Robert in the alley. He's got a long black sleeve shirt on and jeans on with shoes, and he's just got his head in his hand.
He just looks homeless.
He looked like a bum.
No, he looked like if we left him there, like that would be his final resting place. Like that was it.
Yeah, and what happened? We just asked him like, "Hey, Robert, you okay?" He's like, "I want to go home."
It's like, but Robert, you could have just hung out with us the entire time inside Starbucks, where it's
like we all want to go home, dude.
I mean, there was a funny thing because, like, I mean, I don't know how you guys felt during that time, but it was like, we kind of grew up like reading like Henry Rollins, Get in the Van and stuff like that, and there was this sense that you kind of just had to tough it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I'm serious. That tour,
and like I would say that book gave me
great.
zero inspiration, but yeah, you're gonna tough it out.
There was nobody there. That we met a lot of people. The show in fucking London was awesome. Remember that show?
Yeah.
Played in the garage. That was a killer show. It was a fucking
That's
great
the show
tour.
that sticks out in your head as a killer show?
All of them were.
Yeah. I mean,
Even
you guys
when we
played with like...
in fucking Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania,
Dude,
nobody.
no, that London, Ontario show was fucking great. Do you remember that night? There was that. Okay, so we're in the shittiest strip club ever. And like we just walk in, and the first fucking chick, we walk in 2 bands worth, and the first lady on stage is just straight up fat, like not like portly or like fit.
Gotta tip her.
Like
Gotta tip this girl.
No, respect. It was awesome. And the next girl comes out, and she's just smoking a cigarette. Like she wasn't even dancing; she just got naked, and it was like, "You can watch me smoke the cigarette naked."
Just
we're just
standing
like,
on stage smoking a cigarette.
This is fucking sketchy as fuck. And then there was like this big fat native chick, and she went and whispered in Ben's ear, "I'm gonna fucking kill you."
How did she know?
He got traumatized because of that.
Yeah, because he would
was
come.
legitimately.
He came up to me. He's like,
Zach,
Zach, we gotta go. This chick's gonna kill me. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm trying to enjoy the fucking show. This chick's smoking a cigarette.
Of course.
She pointed to some dudes in the back of the room. She's like, see those guys back there? They're gonna fucking kill you guys.
It's like, dude, just enjoy the show. She's halfway done with her fucking parliament. You know, I'm loving this shit.
We had no sense of urgency. Like, this guy thought he was getting killed, and we're like, "Fuck you, man."
Well, the best is, do you remember how we actually? Because the guys got up and they left, and then she rolls in. She's like, "Now you guys can't leave." And it was just like, what? And like, I got, I'll admit, for Ben's sake, I was also a little scared. You guys being like,
I don't remember.
Here's what happened. I don't remember being afraid. I just remember going, I'm having a great time. This is fucking awesome.
This is the greatest strip club I've ever been to.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just the Jewish kids, Ben. I'm sorry. We're like all concerned for a well-being. But like, here's the thing: is like we all blasted out of that place. Remember, we all exited like in like a hurl of like we charged out there like we were gonna get like clobbered, and there was just no one out there.
You were like, bring it.
That's probably just because someone didn't pay.
I don't know.
That's what's likely.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it was probably just bad strip club manners because there was a bunch of like straight edge kids there who didn't know that you need to give someone $1 if you're going to sit there.
Yeah. Anyway, that show was great, and then that's with was Robert Melton down, and like we're like, Robert, you just got to come on, and like that night we played a weird show. It was on the roof.
Yeah, the rooftop.
And it was with the Snobs when everyone like thought they were like the hype band.
Oh, they're the new band.
Oh, they're so cute.
They're 14 years old. They're so cute. They can play punk rock.
They sucked.
Dude, the highlight of the night to me was when the other rooftop was partying as well, and we were like, hey, we're out of beers. And so they started hurling Bud Lights at us. And we're like, holy fucking shit. It's like, there's Bud Light. I don't drink Budweiser. I don't drink Bud Light. But I was like, yeah, fuck it. It's cold.
It's cold.
They threw it at us. I'm drinking this shit out of respect.
Yeah.
So you guys play with that big emo band, right? Like that. And you'll know by the Trail of Dead.
If only someone wrote down all the shows we played.
I know, because we could have some good notes.
Well, there were like bands of like note.
was-
There were like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, we
Sunday
played.
on that.
We did. We played with Taking Back Sunday in Long Island before.
Yeah,
they were
Taking Back
famous.
Sunday.
Anyway, so
But you're
Robert,
thinking like Texas is the Reason level, right? Like you're thinking of...
just because we're in Texas.
No, I mean, you're thinking of like a really big time
No, we
emo
didn't
band.
play
Was
with
it-
anyone super big.
No, I mean, and you know, by the Trail of Dead became a pretty big band, and that was who played on that rooftop.
Oh, I never even heard of them. Still,
Yeah. No, they were like a thing.
well, that's cool. That's why we got paid over $100 for one time on that tour.
They were filming a video on that rooftop. That's why they played there.
Oh, we're extras.
Hope we're in that video.
Yeah, sorry. As an up and coming emo kid at the time, I was,
The best show
curious.
was Houston because Will to Live played,
Houston was
and
probably
Will to
the
Live
best.
is the shit.
They played first, I think, and it went nuts. And then we played after them. And remember, Robert got on the stage. He was like, "Friday night, stars and stripes," and the whole crowd was like, "Deep in the heart of Texas."
Oh, yeah.
That was not you. That was Robert.
no, that was Robert.
That wasn't
It
me.
was so awesome.
And I'm going, that fucking ruled. Anyways, what do they
Yeah,
want?
and his adrenaline dump off that led to his meltdown a day or two later in
Yeah, the
Austin.
day after we played in Austin.
Literally
he
his
was-
best
All right,
moment of the
all
tour.
right. So he melts down in Austin, and then we play El Paso the next day, and then
Phoenix got
gets
canceled.
So we drive home, and then we're going to end the tour with the Ojai Women's Club show. We back. And it was a big, good show. It was like us, Fields of Fire. I can't remember who else. A lot of people there.
Okay, so this is where I got
you go.
confused. So you tell him.
No, you go.
Okay, so I don't know why, but the show's it's pretty crowded. There's a lot of people. Everybody's stoked to see us again. Place is going off. Fucking Fields of Fire gets on stage. They play their whole set, and at one point in time,
It's because Bedge goes into the crowd
He
during
goes into
I'm
the
Not
crowd.
Sorry, right?
Yeah, he gets
Because
off the
remember,
stage.
he does that
Yeah.
long ring out, and he's like,
I'm not sorry.
Oh yeah, here's that really theatrical moment of that song.
Yeah, where they drag it out and fucking.
He comes off the stage, and for some reason, I have no idea why, Robert turns him around and hits him like 4 times in the back as hard as he can, like boom, 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 and the bench like, ah!
Dude, Robert is like tenderizing Bedge's back, like hitting it like a fucking heavy bag, and like
he's, like, really swinging.
And Bedge is like trying to like crawl on stage, but it's like there's like some riffraff in the front, and Robert's just fucking pounding him with all the fucking venom that he felt that day in Austin, and just thinking like, dude, you never gave us crash pads. Like, I was melting down in an alley. Like, and he like
almost died in
But it was weird because like Robert is such a sweetheart. He wasn't gonna like sock Bedge in the face, but he
fucking
he
beat the
literally
shit out of his
fished it
back.
out of his back.
And then so I'm standing like at the back arc of the pit, and Robert like, gets done beating him up, and he walks back. I'm like, Robert, what the fuck? He's like, can't stand that fucking guy.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, after Bedge got back on stage, Robert, and it's like, dude, you just got done assaulting this guy. He's like our friend, right? And he looks over at me and he's just like shaking his head. He's like, I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna fuck him up. It's like, dude, you already did. The guy wasn't fighting back. It's over.
Who is about half your weight? Like, why the fuck are you being this?
Yeah, you just gave like 5 kidney punches to a full-on pacifist.
And the whole time I'm thinking, like, why? Why would you do that?
That one's for Austin. This one's for the Alamo.
And in Ben's head, he's like, I just took your fucking band on tour and I dropped
know.
your band
Like,
every
we
day."
booked the tour, and this is how I get thanked.
That's
Sorry.
true. That's actually really true because even though it was a rough tour, they did book everything. Like because I booked every tour after that, but it took me a solid 8 to 10 weeks to book a full U.S. tour.
Yeah.
It takes that long because like you have to like plan out your weekends and your drives, and so you have like your tentpole weekends, and then you have to figure out how to fill it in between, and it takes a long fucking time. And then like stuff falls through, like, oh, I need to play here on this weekend, and then they can't get the show on Saturday, but they're like, oh, we can get here on Friday, and it's like, oh, now I have to fucking figure out how to move everything up one day. It's like, it was so gnarly.
Oh, dude, we got a show in Cleveland. Yeah. Oh, sorry, show got canceled.
Oh, sorry, 3 years in a row, our show in Cleveland got
Nah,
canceled.
you're not playing in Cleveland. Go fuck yourself. Even though we had one of the best nights ever in Paynesville. Yeah. That was badass.
No, the guys were always really awesome, but every year fell through. Although we did finally get to play Columbus, and they all went.
Dude, that was the night that I don't know if you remember this. There was an awning. There was like just a regular awning, like made out of vinyl, whatever. And I did a stage dive off the roof because everybody was going,
yes,
do it.
Yes, I totally forgot about that.
Stage dive off and landed, and I went right through this awning and landed on the fucking concrete. And I'm talking like
it was in the street,
a 20-foot building.
Oh, like
on
movie shit.
No, I'm serious. Like it was like in the alley, the side of this building. I was like, I got this, guys, no problem. And I did it.
We're like, do it.
It's like, how could you say no after that? Like, of course I'm gonna fucking jump. Like, fuck this. And I destroyed the awning, landed on the concrete. Somehow didn't break any bones. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, just everything hurts now.
And everybody was just high-fiving, and we all just ran. Like, let's get the fuck out of here because we can't pay for that.
You literally stage jumped through a fucking awning like that shit that's like
a 10-foot by 5-foot canopy.
Yeah, like the shit that's out in front of like a hotel.
Like for blocking rain or
Wait, but you called this stage dive, but was it just falling out of a building?
I dove.
Was there a crowd today?
I thought it was. There was like 20 people down the street going, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, fuck it. But I seriously thought that I was going to bounce off the vinyl and then roll over and they were all going to catch me. No. I went straight through the fucking thing.
Jesus, how high is this?
It was like a 20-foot building.
It was like
the awning was probably 12 feet up above the concrete.
Yeah, it was probably the awning was a 20-foot jump with a 10-foot awning and then 10 feet to the ground. But it slowed its fall. It was basically you just fell 10 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because at like a certain height, like everyone roots for you to jump. And there's another height where you're like,
don't.
Is that guy committing suicide?
Well, the funny thing is, actually, me and Zach went to ECW one time down in LA. I don't know if you were with us. But I saw was it Sandman? He jumped.
No, it was New Jack.
It was New Jack.
And it was XPW.
It was XPW.
See why this previous interview was terrible?
Okay, check it out. This guy jumped from about 60 to 70 feet, but there was all these tables stacked on top of each other. So it's like just a regular table that folds out on top of another table, on top of another table, another table. And he hit it perfectly where he broke through every single table and landed on the mat and then got up on his feet and walked away. And so I was like, okay.
Broke through the tables?
All of them. He broke through all of them.
Like chopping through them like...
Yeah, like he just used his body weight just to snap. Because
I think they're doctored. The tables are already like cut in half.
They're probably
Oh, you're talking about pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
sorry.
Because of that, I was like, okay, if that guy can do that, I'll see what I can do. And this fucking
that would be
blade jobs.
Because that would not be the first time that you took pro wrestling into the hardcore performance arena and had some fun with it.
It took me actually an hour driving down there to write my sign. And the sign said just, Blade, you bitch.
All right, so you guys come back from this tour, and another year comes out how long after?
Right after.
Probably pretty close.
Pretty close?
It came out in August, I think. Because we recorded in July. The tour was mid-July, mid-August. And then it came out
It came out in 2001, so it obviously came out within a few months of...
It was right after, I think.
But the record release isn't your homecoming show.
No, our homecoming show was in Ojai, and that show was awesome.
Well, then the record release is whenever the record came out.
Oh, by the way, that was a show where I took all my clothes off and I did a stage dive. And there was like 4 rows of people. I'm talking like packed. Like people just completely packed against the stage where they couldn't move. And I did a stage dive with my fucking hairy balls swinging. And for some reason, they figured out a way to just part the Red Sea.
And this is not your first nude stage dive as a
my
front
first
man.
was at a Showcase.
And Showcase. And Showcase is before? Showcase is
yeah.
before the
It was
U.S.
before-
tour.
That was when
No
Dave
way.
Mandel signed us.
No way.
The Showcase Theater show was the show that Dave Mandel was like, okay, you guys are in a decision. That show, that when we covered Gigi Allen.
Really?
Yeah, that was the show where he was standing on the side of the stage and taking pictures of us.
We were good that night.
And it was kind of
We
like
were
a
really
big
good that
deal
night.
that you guys played the Showcase, right?
Dude, I took all my clothes off, and the guy in the back was like, "Who's naked?" And he turned off the lights. He goes, is he really naked? He is naked. Like, so the lights go off and they come back on. Fuck, he is naked. And he turns the lights back off really fast.
I mean, you're telling that story to us because and we know every single detail, but I think the world.
But if you actually watch the footage, you would crack your. I mean, you would.
So you guys are playing
funny.
You guys are playing the showcase for the first time ever. It's kind of a thing too, because like no Oxnard bands play the showcase.
I think it might have been our first gig there.
No, Stalag played Bailey there.
Oh yeah, and everybody from San Diego made fun of Blake.
It's just a knowledge flex.
But seriously though, we were good that night, and fuck. I mean, I got naked in front of fucking what? There were 600 people there. 400 people
covering Gigi Allen.
Well, that's why I got naked.
Yeah, we ended with Gigi Allen because we knew we were gonna do it.
Yeah,
it was
die when you die.
Pre-planned.
You knew you were gonna get naked.
Well, I took my shirt off first, and then I kind of like unloosened my belt. I'm going, fuck it.
Maybe.
And I just dropped my pants, and I had my jeans around my feet, so I couldn't really move.
Was that before or after the camel clutch thongs?
That was after. Camel clutch
so
thongs were one of the first.
That's what dipped your toes in. Because we played that show at Shea Cafe, and you fucking did a song because, dude,
I came out of the bathroom at Shea Cafe and had to weed myself through the crowd wearing just a camel clutch thong. And a couple years later, Fred Hart comes with a book called The Power of Expression, and I'm on the cover, and I'm going, "Hey, Fred, you know what's kind of funny? You see what I'm wearing? I have no shirt on. I have board shorts on. Underneath those board shorts, I'm wearing a fucking camel clutch thong." And it was really comfortable. It was right at the crack of my ass. I just put my shorts on and I kept the thong on, so I had to play that entire gig with that thong on. It's like, dude.
Yeah, and camel clutch is like the camel clutch thong. Besides actual records, is the only piece of camel clutch merch.
It's true. At the time.
At the time.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, so that's how you dipped your toes in the nudity water.
I think I got naked before that.
You got naked before the showcase show?
That show was the first show of our 2002 tour. That was August 8th, I think, or no, September 8th. Shea Fest. Remember it was called Shea Fest? And like 20 bands played that day.
Yeah, it was a great show.
It was packed.
I just remember by the time Posy Numbers and you got naked there, I was like, okay, this is more not as welcome.
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
Well, Posy Numbers, I got naked and I did a blade job, so I got hair down to here to my shoulders, right? Fucking bleeding everywhere, and I'm butt naked.
What's a blade job?
You don't know what a blade job is?
I know what a blade job is. I just think like you need to describe it for the rest of the world.
Okay, so this is what I've seen in The Wrestler and what I know, that they have all their wrist garments on, right? Well, they hide a razor blade in there so that when they feel the time is right, they take the razor blade out and they hit one of their gushers right here where your hair is, so they can't see it.
You cut your forehead
scalp.
right.
You cut your forehead.
You cut your scalp right where the hairline is.
Yeah, so
they don't see the cut.
You can't see the cut,
So
but you see all the blood, so it's more theatrical.
And we used to do it during Omega Point, where like there's a pause and then it comes back in on a cymbal hit, and you'd like headbutt the cymbal.
I would headbutt the cymbal.
And then like go down, like take a knee.
Oh, the cymbal fucked me up. So I really was like, nah, it didn't really hurt. That hurt. So yeah, the first time I did it was in Ventura, and I pretended to hit the cymbal with my head. What I really did was
at Pat's Warehouse. That was the first one.
Pat's Warehouse. Yeah, that was the first one I did.
And that was the craziest.
And that was like so much blood. And then the next
that was
year,
terrifying.
We played at Twin Cities with Holding On, and I told them all, I'm like, oh no, I was just a blade job. And then I think Sean Lipinski or who was it? Was it Carl? They were like, wait, what? I'm like, no, I did that on purpose. It was just a blade job, like professional wrestling. And he goes, I don't know what's cooler. If you actually really split your head open from the cymbal, or you just did that on purpose. I can't believe you really did that.
I mean, being in the audience for that Pat's Warehouse show and seeing that was a ridiculous
scary
amount of blood.
That was a scary amount of blood.
And I was totally fine. Yeah. It didn't even hurt. I felt no pain
because you're half dead.
Yeah, I mean, it was like. I mean, that's what I was going to ask you after. Was like. Was there ever amount of blood that actually like put you down a little bit or made you like feel like you lost a lot of blood?
I've donated blood many times in my life, and I've never felt dizzy.
Never felt
wary. No, you eat pineapple juice.
No amount of blood can stop this man.
No.
Well, that was the biggest one. Was the first one.
The first one.
It was never gnarly
because
like that
I didn't know what to do. So I really. I mean, I'm talking like I took that razor blade and cut it because I wanted to make sure it worked. But then I realized.
It works really quite easily.
Do that. You just go. You could do a little.
It's crazy what a razor blade can do to human skin.
We got pulled over at the border of Canada, And we had all like
That's a good time to
all
cut
our merch.
yourself. Yeah, that's a good idea.
No, I had a bunch of razor blades, and I didn't want to tell the lady. She's like, "Okay, you guys don't have any drugs. You have all these fucking weapons, which is weird. Grocery dividers, baseball bats, nightstick. That's fucking weird. What the fuck are all these razor blades for?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know how I pulled this out. I was like, oh, they're for cutting cardboard. When you mail 7 inches." She's like, "What?" Like like EPs, like 7 inches when you cut cardboards and you mail them to people. Because I didn't want to tell them like I use those.
I remember my first Negro Modelo.
Ladies and gentlemen, a beer has been spilled on the table.
I got it.
It's cool. It's like when we were recording the Stand Your Ground 7-inch with Paul Miner and I spilled that 40.
That was right before Bound My Honor. All right, so you come off that tour, and that is like pretty close to the end of August, but then it's only like a month later that you guys do a record release show for Another Year. Another Year comes out.
Yeah, and I don't remember any of that.
Wait. Where was the record release show at?
Had to be Ohio, right?
Had to
It
be
was
Ojai,
Ojai.
right?
It was
Ojai Women's
Ojai.
Club.
It was Missing 23rd and Holier Than Thou.
Okay, I put Holier Than Thou on like every show.
Yeah.
Every show I booked because I loved them and they couldn't gain traction for whatever reason, but they were so fucking good. And not to knock them, they're so fucking good. Let me tell you why I fucking stopped booking them. They could never fucking show up on time, and it was like they're the opening band, and so I finally had to stop booking them. But
They played fast. They were hard. They were loud. They had short, fast songs, which we loved. And the singer sounded just like the singer of RKL, really.
they were so good. They were so good. Yeah, so it was probably 2 months after the tour comeback show then, right?
It's kind of an interesting choice to put Missing 23rd on that show, too.
That's like us doing our Unity shit.
We love Miss 23rd.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
And we were, there was, I don't want to talk about like negativity too much, but there was a little bit of a schism because we were all, there was a moment of time that
was a rift.
Fred and those guys didn't get along, and
Mike Droman and Fred fought. Remember?
That's right.
and,
That's right.
and Scoops and Martin and we were like Fred's friends, and they were like on the other side, but it had nothing to do with us. And so it's like, as soon as we're adults and we are running our own ship, there's no need for this bullshit anymore. A good band is a good band, and they're from the area, then we should play together. It's so silly not to, right?
Yeah. I mean, Missing 23rd was like a pretty important band when we were...
Dude, they played
coming up.
everywhere, and they played all the time. They played like fucking 5 gigs a month, maybe even more than that.
Well, no, they were really, really, really good. And this is like them kind of like, this is later Missing 23rd. So it's hard to stretch out a band like that because they started as such a good, perfect sounding, simple, like DC band, like, but executed really well.
Yeah.
But the longevity of being able to write perfect, simple songs like that is very hard. So at this point, they've definitely done the first LP. I don't know if they've done the second one.
I have to check back on that episode, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, but like they've
they
been
have
around
2
for a long time
LPs.
now. So like they're out and they're like slogging like kind of the same scene we are. Like they're playing PCH. They're playing. I don't know how many times they play the Shea, but they're definitely like playing
same
the
places,
PCH.
but very different scene. Like you guys aren't playing with the same bands.
I don't know at that point because we are crossing over a fair amount because they're playing with like Nerve Agents, those kind of bands, and we're kind of playing with them too.
1134. I mean, that was a different time then.
Yeah, I mean, like we're. I would say that the common ground is we're both playing the PCH, and it's like if we're playing out of town shows together, why the fuck aren't we combining our draw and playing local shows together?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like different people are going to come to see Missing 23rd that are going to see In Control. And like those people are combined at your record release.
Yeah, and now it's a little more combined. We played with them also like out. It was like a weird Moore Park show. Do you remember that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, in the daytime?
Was that before or after? We played on the bed of
You
a
mean the
semi
show
truck.
where you did a stage dive and I fucking I caught you and you chipped my top tooth.
Yeah,
That fucking hurt really bad.
Yeah, the show was on the back of a flatbed.
Yeah, it was like a flatbed in the daytime.
And yeah, there was probably like, 40 people there? It's still a staged overturn, missing 23rd.
I got you, buddy.
Ryan was like on the front row, like arms up on the flatbed, and fucking I landed on his head and he fucking pancaked into the flatbed and chipped a
half
tooth.
My front tooth came off and I had to go to the dentist the next day because my mom's like, you can't look like that.
There was definitely like a strong period in our lives where we would not miss a good time for a stage dive.
Oh, no, of course not.
Well, stage diving is the greatest thing about hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's the participation part of it. Like, if you want to rush, it's that YOLO moment of like not knowing what's going to happen. And it's not like
I said earlier, it's scary, it's frightening, and it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And it fucking makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. It's like, just fucking go for it, man. Fuck it.
You remember going to like big shows at the Showcase, and that was like the proving ground for stage diving because, dude, there were so many fools that like, I don't know, I don't feel like that stage was low. Do you? It was like a normal, perfect size stage.
It was like 3 feet.
It was a little bit bigger in the living room, and it had big floor monitors.
But people got rejected there.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Like,
Oh, yeah.
There was people that would like go to try to stage dive, and they got rejected. And it's like, dude, this guy has tried to stage dive like 4 times and keeps getting pushed back onto the stage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was
oh
your
my
little
God.
brother.
Yeah, before he grew like a foot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing is like, well, at the
Shout out
showcase,
Josh Belchere.
Shout out Josh. Also, best
Hey.
picture of your bloody head was from Josh.
Oh, really?
The picture with your blood all down your scalp and you have long hair, that's Josh.
That's great.
Shout out Josh Belchere. Patreon click represent. That's my dude right there.
But seriously, the showcase was scary because not only were there people stage diving in front of you, there was a rail that was about 8 feet back that people were stage diving from behind you, and there was idiots that would get on that balcony where they sold all the merch, and they would stage dive at that rail too. It's like,
Yeah.
you had it on all fronts. Like,
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
fucking scary.
I mean, Showcase is like a stage dive arena. And that makes it gnarly because it's like you go to the living room during a good written show and just like, slam on top of some heads of some girls who are in the front, and it would be fine because no one's expecting a stage dive. Whereas like everyone at the Showcase is like holding their hands up,
Yeah, just waiting.
like waiting to throw you back on the stage.
The living room was perfect too because it had a thick carpet on the stage. So
Yeah.
like all those shows where it was only like 3 rows of dudes and you had to do like those diagonal stage dives where you're like you're jumping but you're trying to be very parallel to the stage. Like if by chance you don't fucking make it, you're just skidding on the carpet.
Yeah.
It was very forgiving.
Well, wasn't there 4 living rooms? There was one on Fairview. There was one on Los Carneros.
Oh, you mean like all the different
If you
locations?
count,
they
if
go
you
four
to?
of
count
them, I think.
Sniffies, there's
there,
4.
there was 4.
Yeah, because there's that original one, and we have Joe Rivas in the room too. He can correct us if we're wrong. But there's the first one. Then
Off Fairview, right?
whatever the first one was. What's the first one?
Right past Turnpike. And
The first one, the one that we all know.
the one
Yeah,
that
the
we-
original
there's one
one.
off Fairview.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's the one that was like next door to Sniffies, and then there was Sniffies, and then there was that
was
other one
on
that
Los
was like
Carneros, yeah.
really narrow and long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the one
Los
where...
Carneros one and that weird
That
business
was the one
part.
where
That's where we saw
slammed-
E-Town Concrete.
Yeah. And nobody gave a fuck about it.
Legendary E-Town show and that
And Crevice opened for E-Town, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Ray Crevice,
and
gosh.
Bane played there.
Whoa.
Bane played there with Carry On. That's what the Carry On live recording is from.
I remember that night.
Oh, I don't
That was
remember
the
that being
night
Bane.
that I was at Moorpark Raiders Stadium. I was watching the football game, and at halftime, I'm like, Dad, I gotta go. He's like, why? I'm like, I gotta go hightail up to Goleta because I have to see this fucking show. This band called Bane is playing. My dad's like, what the fuck is hardcore? I'm like, never mind, Dad. I'm like, you just gotta go, dude. I hope the Raiders win. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, the lost like Carry On songs are from that show.
Yeah.
Hey, before we wrap 01, let's tell that story about that was actually the night we played Showcase the first time was when we got in that car accident, right?
When stupid ass Tony got the fucking drums pike stuck in his ribs and went to the hospital the next day.
You went to the hospital?
Yeah, dude, you don't remember that?
No, but okay, we only
It
played
was
Showcase.
it was my dad's truck.
We borrowed your dad's truck, so it was after Micah left, so we didn't have a van, and it's before we bought our van.
Yeah.
So we were going in your truck, but because
It was my dad's truck, by the way.
no. I think it's because it was raining. We took your dad's
Yeah, 'cause it
truck
had a cover.
because it had the shell.
So we could put all our
So we went
equipment
and played
in
the show, and then on the way back, we got in a car wreck at like the city of industry.
City of Commerce. I think we were in the City of Commerce. Or yeah, you're right around there.
Yeah,
I think it was on the 101
One of
freeway.
those Inland Empire.
It's
Yeah.
where the
rat
fucking
holes.
no. It's right there before you hit LA. It's where the fucking casinos are and shit. Right off the
I think it's City of Commerce.
right
but
off the
I
5,
think-
whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing is we're driving down the freeway, right? And I'm driving. Everybody's kind of chilling. We're cool. It's all good. It's pouring down rain, and there's like a 6-car pileup in front of us. But I didn't see it because the car in front of us was still driving, and then the car in front of us takes a hard left turn into the shoulder of the median, and so I just slam on the brakes. The steering wheel locks, so now I can't even turn the steering wheel, and we just fucking nail into this car, and that car hits the car in front of us, and so. Of course, Tony's in the back.
It was like an 8-car pileup, but in the back of the truck was Tony and Livia with all the equipment.
Yeah.
Tony
And
and
Tony
Livia,
and Lydia, yeah.
Ryan's high school girlfriend,
Yes, my high school sweetheart. And
are in the back of the truck?
yes, they're in the back just laying down
in,
with no
in the
seatbelts.
cab and with all the equipment, so it's like fucking ping-ponging.
Yeah.
my God.
Like
So,
they could have easily died.
I get out of the truck and I go check on the person in front of us. Like, are you okay? Okay, you're okay. Are you okay? Okay. The guy that the car in front of us had a bloody nose. He was like bleeding. I'm like, oh fuck.
It was like an 8-car pileup.
Yeah. And so the cops come and they go. So, have any guys been drinking tonight? I was all, no, of course not. He's like, where do you come from? Oh, punk rock show. Oh yeah, punk rock show, huh? And Zach goes, dude, it's all ages. We weren't drinking. I'm going, yes, good idea, because we all were drinking. Brilliant answer, Zach.
Not drinking, of course not. Where are
So,
you coming from?
The next day, I have to face my dad. I have my 2 cousins, my
Let
sisters.
me jump in before you get there.
Okay, yeah.
So we're stranded out there and it's raining. And
This is pretty gnarly.
It was fucking terrible because, like, there was nowhere to go. We just literally had to stand in the rain
Till, like,
while
3
we
or
were
4 in
waiting
the
for
morning.
AAA to show up. And
To tow the truck back.
Pat Grande came and picked us up. Pat Grande came to pick us up. He drove from Nard out there to pick up the people, and then me and Ryan
Stayed.
me and Ryan went home with the tow truck driver.
Yeah, the tow truck driver.
And it was wild because we were coming home that night, and it was just like, well, first off, with the no shelter, it was like we tried to go into all those like casinos. Like, can we just stand here? And like everyone's like, get the fuck out. So like we literally had to like stand in the rain. It was fucking terrible. So we're going home in the tow truck. Like Pat shows up, we send everyone home. We go home in the tow truck, and like it's just a bad night. Like
pouring rain.
there's so many accidents on the way home. We see like 3 different accidents, and like each one I see body bags, and like
Yeah.
it's just like we're so fortunate that no one died.
Like, we're
especially
all
with Tony
totally
and,
fine, and these people are dead on the side of the freeway.
Yeah, and that's fucking Victims of Progress.
Victims of Progress.
That's what the song was written about.
Yeah,
So-
but
Really?
So the next day, Tony goes to the hospital because his fucking ribs hurt. Well, my dad. had to
Anyway,
pay-
fuck your song. Tony goes to the hospital, and my dad's gonna whoop my ass.
That's pretty much exactly what
Fuck
I
your
was going to
song.
say.
Pretty much the whole deal.
Man, I tried to weave right into that in case anyone was interested, because Aaron
know.
wanted to talk about the record.
Zach's really getting these segues down really hard. Because, like,
You guys don't understand. When my dad walks up a flight of stairs, the whole house starts shaking. Like the walls start moving.
yeah, anyone,
Your dad's a fucking caveman. Dude.
yeah, anyone who knows
He's
Ryan,
a troglodyte.
think of like a Ryan twice as big, with just like who's a full blown like Neanderthal type body, like
Yeah.
it doesn't move without kind of groaning.
He's like a big bear.
Shout out Terry.
Shout out Terry. Shout out Moore Park Raiders.
More Park Raiders.
But so that would be the actual inspiration for Victims in Progress, which is like kind of a softer song.
It's a
Well,
great pussy song.
The thing that we thought was we were in such a bad dire straits that we're stranded here. It's like, dude, those people are dead. At least we're fucking alive. Like we made it.
Well, and I was thinking about when I wrote the song was like all these people die, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. Like
Yeah.
they're just a stat because like no one's gonna think about it and like drive slower in the rain. It's just like, yeah, some people are gonna die. Hopefully, it's not me.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
but I want to get home. You know,
That's a
And
death
it's
rate
just
we're
like,
totally comfortable with.
That's literally Victims of Progress. Like, you know, those people wouldn't be dead if they were born 100 years ago and there wasn't fucking freeways and cars, right? It's like, it's just you died because of human progress. Like, So it's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, 100 years ago, they would have been killed in like a duel or something.
They would have died. They would have died by more noble means.
Yeah. Or just eaten by a bear.
Yeah, or would have just died by natural causes at 37.
Yeah, exactly. Never would have made it to the highway anyway.
I'd land on that.
Yeah, that's perfect segue.
Ryan says that's enough for this episode.
That's it. 2001's over.
Okay. Until next time, huh?
Perfect.